5 years after the apocalypse, Earth was a desolate wasteland, ravaged by invading demons and their dark powers. Despite brave, awakened ones, fighting relentlessly, humanity crumbled against the relentless, overwhelming demonic tide. The world became a hunting ground, a gruesome tableau of carnage as a monstrous fiend feasted on a fallen warrior. Millions perished, while desperate survivors became enslaved or fled in terror, mere puppets for their new masters. Humanity was tragically reduced to playthings, their very essence controlled by the sadistic whims of demonic overlords. Once a vibrant paradise, Earth now lay fractured and broken, a testament to pure terror and devastation. The blue marble shattered, transformed into a burning hell of despair and relentless suffering for all remaining life. Deep within the ruins, a desperate older brother carried his frail sister, hoping to outrun their relentless pursuers. His sister, Koyuki, weakened by infection, urged him to leave her, broken by her fading strength. The grieving brother refused, clutching his precious cargo, promising food and survival once they reached safety. But exhaustion claimed them both, they stumbled and fell, their last hopes crashing onto the broken ground. The protective brother instantly checked on Koyuki, his heart pounding, consumed by fear and self-blame. He apologized profusely, blaming himself for their fall, as Koyuki struggled, blood trickling from her mouth. The infected girl revealed the domain poison, slowly consuming her, hinting at her inevitable, tragic end. 5 agonizing years had passed since her infection, she admitted reaching her physical and emotional limits. The shattered soul cried out, regretting his powerlessness, wishing he could have protected her from this fate. Koyuki comforted him, assuring her brother his protection was why she had survived this long in the harsh world. With her last breaths, she pleaded for him to abandon her and survive, her words tearing his heart apart. Just then, a menacing demonic presence descended, casting an ominous shadow over the siblings. The older brother's blood ran cold, fear consuming him as a horrifying monster appeared from the shadows. His eyes widened in terror, instantly recognizing the immense power radiating from the colossal demonic entity. The massive fiend revealed itself, having found a new toy in Koyuki, a cruel high-level demon sport. It taunted the innocent girl, savoring her fear, declaring she wouldn't last much longer in its grasp. The desperate brother screamed for it to release her, his voice trembling with raw, impotent fury. The sadistic monstrosity feigned kindness, only to hurl Koyuki away with brutal, casual indifference. It laughed cruelly, celebrating its own kindness as Koyuki was thrown through the air, completely helpless. The frail girl hit the ground with devastating force, impaled by unseen spikes, her life brutally extinguished. The older brother watched in horror, his world crumbling, utterly broken by the cruel, senseless murder. A guttural scream tore from his throat, a primal cry of agony and despair, echoing through the desolate ruins. The demonic beast turned its gaze to him, declaring its toy was broken and he was next to be destroyed. A silent, dark rage simmered within the young man, his eyes burning with an unholy promise of vengeance. He lunged forward, fueled by pure hatred, vowing to utterly annihilate the monster that stole his sister. The looming fiend scoffed, amused by his impotent threat, its massive form radiating pure mockery. It ridiculed the powerless human, sneering at his trembling rage, questioning what he could possibly do. The demonic entity effortlessly unleashed a devastating attack, casually swatting the enraged brother aside. The young man crumpled to the ground, blood gushing, overwhelmed by the demon's terrifying strength. The ruthless executioner stood over him, urging humanity to just go extinct already, oozing contempt. It demanded he hurry up and die, mocking his prolonged suffering as fiery magic engulfed him. Engulfed in a blazing inferno, the battered brother slowly lost consciousness, consumed by pain. Lying amidst the rubble, the dying man questioned the cruel injustice of his life's tragic end. The demonic beast expressed surprise, intrigued that this resilient human was still somehow alive. Deciding to finish the job, the monster manifested a monstrous red blade, ready to deliver the final blow. It savagely impaled the nearly dead human, mockingly asking why he wasn't screaming in pain. The sadistic fiend commanded him to beg for his miserable life, reveling in the agony of its victim. Through blurred vision, the tortured soul's eyes caught sight of a familiar, pristine white object. His fading consciousness recognized the object amidst the debris, a forgotten memory stirring within him. It was a small statue of an angel, a poignant symbol from a much simpler, happier time. This discovery transported his mind back a decade, to a cherished memory with his beloved sister. He proudly presented a similar angel statue to a young Koyuki, wishing her a happy birthday. He explained his gift, promising the angel would always protect her, a symbol of his unwavering love. Little Koyuki sweetly interrupted, her innocent gaze focused solely on her loving older brother. She declared that the angel wasn't her true protector, her big brother was all she ever needed. Her pure, innocent words deeply moved the young boy, filling him with a fierce, protective resolve. He carefully placed the angel's statue down, choosing to embrace his little sister instead. He reaffirmed their bond, promising both he and the angel would always protect his precious Koyuki. That childhood promise echoed in his mind, a painful reminder of his ultimate, tragic failure. 5 years into a demon-ruled future, the young warrior desperately carried his dying sister through toxic ruins. His frail sister, Koyuki, weakened by domain poison, struggled for every breath as monsters swarmed. Exhaustion claimed the grieving brother, collapsing amidst the inferno as a monstrous shadow approached. His leg injured, the shattered soul fell, helpless as a colossal, sadistic demon materialized before them. The looming fiend mocked his desperation, its very presence crushing all remaining hope. The terrifying demon prepared to strike, its immense power overwhelming the desperate fighter. With a casual, brutal motion, the demonic beast impaled Koyuki, extinguishing her gentle life instantly. The young warrior's world crumbled, his heart consumed by impotent rage and profound grief. He remembered a promise to protect her, an oath now broken and drenched in her innocent blood. Koyuki's selfless face, masked against the poison, haunted him as he lay dying, engulfed in fire. A vivid memory surfaced, Koyuki, returning for him despite his pleas, risking everything to save him. She urged him to run, covering his mouth, a desperate act of love during the demon invasion. But her heroic return came at a cost, she tragically contracted the deadly domain poison. They escaped the immediate danger, yet a more insidious threat continued to consume her. The helpless young man watched his sister cough blood, the poison claiming her in his arms. "I'm sorry," he whispered, engulfed in regret, his failure burning deeper than any wound. "I couldn't protect you," he thought, embracing death amidst the fiery, blood-soaked ruins. The ruthless executioner scoffed, finding his suffering boring, devoid of any entertainment. With a final, crushing blow, the sadistic monstrosity left the impaled warrior for dead. Then, a strange sight, a blood-stained angel statue, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly blue light. Digital code erupted from the statue, a mysterious energy encompassing his dying form. The radiant data streamed upwards, connecting to his consciousness as the world blurred. System activated, a voice echoed, rewinding time. Target, 5 years ago. A second chance. The shattered soul awakened, bruised and battered, not by demons, but by bullies in a familiar town. What's going on? Didn't I die? He thought, disoriented in this seemingly normal past. His eyes flashed with a potent, unfamiliar glow as the reality of his return slowly dawned. He recognized Chan, the thuggish gang leader from his past, mocking him in his weakness. Chan, a local menace, extorted protection fees from everyone, including his own family. The cruel leader mentioned Koyuki, reminding the protective brother of her domain poison infection. The young man's heart clenched, his sister was still in danger, even in this rewritten past. Phase 2 flow. Chan demanded money, threatening Koyuki's safety if the payment wasn't delivered in 3 days. The bullies laughed, dismissing the young warrior as a weakling, finding no challenge in tormenting him. A chilling dread swept over him, was Koyuki even still alive in this newly altered timeline? People bustled around him, a normal, thriving street, a stark contrast to his apocalyptic memories. Was he dreaming? Earth should be ruins, he thought, not this vibrant, peaceful scene. He stared at the laughing faces, realizing he hadn't seen true smiles in an eternity of despair. 5 years ago, domains were just appearing. People were still relocating, life mostly normal. Some even awakened powers, battling the nascent threats. Hope still flickered for humanity. Little did they know, this fragile peace was merely the calm before the ultimate, world-ending storm. 5 years ago, he repeated, eyes wide. He had truly returned to the past, brought back to life. Racing home, the desperate brother screamed Koyuki's name, pure hope fueling his every step. He found her sleeping, alive, safe in her bed. A wave of overwhelming relief washed over him. It wasn't a dream. He had truly returned, granted a miraculous second chance at life. But checking the date, April 21, 2055, confirmed Koyuki was already infected with domain poison. A month earlier, and he could have prevented her suffering. Regret gnawed at the protective brother. Suddenly, a dazzling blue light pulsed from his phone, a digital interface appearing before him. A voice declared itself the Level Up System, a holographic entity materializing from his device. Level Up System, the confused young man questioned, seeking answers from the strange phenomenon. The system explained, reach level 99, and he could save Earth, and all of humanity. The young warrior scoffed. Save Earth? He was powerless, no abilities, utterly insignificant. The system simply stated it had unlocked his powers, leaving him to discover the details himself. Initiating teleportation, it announced, granting no time for the bewildered youth to protest. Wait, he cried, as Koyuki stirred, murmuring, Big Brother. In her sleep. He plummeted into a lush, green forest, forcefully transported to an unknown, tranquil place. Ouch! Where am I? He exclaimed, as the system informed him he was in a beginner's zone. No way, he protested, I don't care about saving humanity. I just want to protect Koyuki. The system revealed a cure for domain poison existed, found in ingredients scattered across domains. His focus sharpened, leveling up meant saving Koyuki. His mission was clear, his resolve unwavering. In this world, mysterious domains appear, creating time-sealed barriers from other dimensions. These zones vary wildly in size, from small playgrounds to areas covering half a city. While familiar terrain and structures remain, conditions inside drastically transform. These corrupted zones infest with mutated creatures and deadly magical beasts. Only awakened ones, with proper antibodies, can safely enter these dangerous territories. The young warrior, feeling no discomfort, wondered if his new powers meant he was truly an awakened. He grumbled, realizing the system expected him to fight these terrifying magical beasts alone. Then, the system revealed the crucial truth, domain poison's cure existed in ingredients within these zones. The determined brother knew this was the only way to save Koyuki, he had to succeed. Suddenly, rustling sounds broke the forest's silence, catching the warrior's attention. He cautiously peered forward, convinced something was rapidly approaching from the dense foliage. The rustling intensified, revealing a creature hiding within the thick undergrowth. The reincarnated hero's eyes sharpened, trying to identify the mysterious moving entity. A large, placid animal emerged, looking surprisingly calm amidst the looming danger. The young warrior was utterly bewildered, recognizing the creature as a peaceful capybara. Relief washed over him, briefly thinking he had mistaken it for a magical beast. Still, the context felt wrong, a peaceful herbivore shouldn't be casually feeding here. A primal instinct screamed danger, making the warrior's eyes widen in stark realization. The peaceful capybara was devouring another, blood staining its fur and eyes glowing red. The horrified youth gasped, remembering that capybaras were strictly herbivores. This creature was no ordinary animal, it was a terrifyingly mutated beast. The terrified warrior backed away slowly, attempting to avoid interrupting its gruesome meal. He desperately wanted to disappear, hoping to escape the monster's predatory gaze unnoticed. Flight was his only option, the desperate fighter bolted into the forest's depths. But the bloodthirsty capybara stood menacingly, its glowing red eyes fixated on him. The fleeing hero cursed his own foolishness, remembering that any creature in a domain could mutate. His foot caught a root, sending him sprawling to the ground in a desperate scramble. The fallen warrior knew he had to get up, other unseen dangers lurked nearby. Suddenly, another pair of animalistic feet appeared, stepping right beside him. The young warrior's heart pounded, had the mutated beast already caught up? Phase 2 flow. The desperate fighter spun around, prepared for a fight he wasn't ready for. He frantically scanned the ground, searching for anything he could use as a weapon. Grabbing a jagged stick, the determined brother resolved to stab the beast if it attacked. He remained hidden, waiting for the mutated creature to reveal itself. The young warrior gripped his makeshift spear tightly, adrenaline coursing through his veins. But the monster wasn't in front, a second, equally terrifying creature lunged from his left. Another mutated beast. The stunned warrior realized he was completely surrounded. A sharp blow struck him, sending a jolt of pain through his body. The desperate fighter was overwhelmed, there were two of these terrifying monsters. Both mutated creatures attacked simultaneously, sinking their fangs into his flesh. He couldn't shake them off, at this rate, the agile combatant would be bitten to death. The trapped warrior desperately needed a distraction, just a moment to breathe. Suddenly, his arm glowed, and a thorny vine instinctively wrapped around his hand. He swung the vine, catching both mutated capybaras, flinging them into the air. The shocked warrior watched as his newfound power suspended the beasts by their legs. Utterly bewildered by this sudden ability, he stared at his glowing arm. The tangled monsters thrashed wildly, struggling against the strong, glowing vine. This was his chance. The wounded hero knew he had to act fast. He seized his makeshift spear, ready to deliver a finishing blow to the struggling creatures. With a battle cry, the determined brother lunged forward, channeling his raw power. The young warrior observes the fallen beasts, their blood staining the forest floor after his first brutal encounter. A wave of relief washes over the hero, a chilling realization of his perilous, hard-won victory in the deadly domain. He marvels at his survival against two monstrous capybaras, the fight already feeling like a surreal, violent dream. Suddenly, a holographic message flashes, announcing, sensing control, beginner level successfully unlocked. The bewildered warrior questions the mysterious, sensing control, struggling to grasp the nature of his newfound abilities. He recalls others gaining powers like fire or beast transformation, but his vine control feels utterly unique. The wounded combatant had never heard of such a strange power among the awakened ones in his memories. His arm still tingles, a phantom pain from where the thorny vine had instinctively erupted during the battle. He remembers trying to shake off the attacking creatures, and the vine moved, seemingly on its own accord. Could his power be a form of plant control, a strange and unpredictable ability? The system dismisses his guess, hinting that his true capabilities are far more expansive than simple plant manipulation. The determined hero wonders if his power extends to controlling a broader range of environmental elements around him. Injured and exhausted, the warrior pleads with the system to return him to his world for healing. The holographic entity cruelly informs him, he cannot leave until the domain's energy core is destroyed. The shocked warrior realizes this means confronting the strongest mutated or magical beast in the entire zone. "Are you telling me to die?" he roars, pure desperation lacing his voice as he glares at the system. Suddenly, a guttural growl rips through the silence, making the young warrior's blood run cold. His eyes widen in abject terror as a massive shadow looms over him, shaking the very ground. A colossal capybara, far larger and more terrifying than the previous ones, emerges from the undergrowth. Its eyes glow with malevolent red light, its monstrous fangs dripping with blood, a predator beyond his current league. Panic flares in the hero's eyes, this new threat is utterly overwhelming, a true nightmare. Why is there such a gigantic capybara? He gasps, realizing its power is on a completely different level. The sheer scale of the mutated beast makes his previous battles seem like child's play. He glimpses the mangled remains of the smaller capybaras, now dwarfed by this monstrous parent. It's over. The shattered soul whispers, gripped by despair at the impossible odds. The colossal creature lets out a deafening screech, charging forward with terrifying speed and malice. The desperate combatant barely evades its crushing stomp, sending dirt and debris exploding around him. Its strength and size are incomparable, a single stomp could crush him like an ant. Pure survival instinct takes over, blazing in his wide, fear-stricken eyes. Phase 2 Flow. Recalling his innate power, the wounded hero desperately extends his hand towards a nearby vine. With a surge of resolve, he decides to risk everything, focusing his will to command the plants. "Please, help me," he screams, pouring every ounce of desperate energy into his control. Miraculously, the vine twitches, then rapidly extends and entwines itself around the young warrior's arm. The desperate fighter swings the newly animated vine, ensnaring the giant mutated capybara's leg mid-pounce. He slams the colossal beast into the ground, a desperate, unexpected counterattack born of pure will. Elation fills the hero. He moved the vine, a surge of hope igniting his fighting spirit. His hand glows fiercely, the vine responding to his command, thorny and potent. But his relief is short-lived, the colossal beast struggles, threatening to tear free. The vine strains, unable to hold the monster's immense weight for long, tension building rapidly. "Damn it," the determined warrior curses, realizing his current power isn't enough to subdue it. The giant capybara begins to shake free, forcing the injured hero to retreat. With another ear-splitting screech, the enraged beast lunges, bloodlust in its glowing red eyes. The agile combatant dives, barely avoiding a fatal blow, but the impact sends him flying. Lying dazed, he knows one vine is insufficient, this monstrous foe requires something with far more impact. His bloodied mouth clenches, he needs to strategize, something more powerful than direct confrontation. A plan forms. He will lure the monstrous capybara deeper into the dense, vine-choked forest. The enraged beast screeches, tearing at the remaining vines, its fury undeniable. The resourceful warrior limps away, knowing he must act quickly while he still has precious time. The colossal capybara follows, roaring in pursuit, oblivious to the desperate warrior's cunning plan. Deeper into the dark, tangled woods, a thick canopy of vines awaits, a potential weapon. He decides to embrace his power's true potential. He will make it work, no matter the cost. The monstrous beast screeches, closing in, unaware of the trap being meticulously set by the desperate hero. The young warrior presses his hands against a thick vine, a golden glow emanating from his touch. If he can control all the vines around him, he might just have a chance to finally win this impossible fight. Blood streamed from the young warrior's mouth, his body screaming in protest against the brutal domain's relentless assault. Yet, the desperate fighter clung to a glowing vine, channeling his very essence into its mystical energy. His eyes blazed with fierce determination, urging his raw power to respond, "Move, move. Please move." The monstrous capybara snarled, its crimson eyes fixed, ready to deliver a crushing blow to the vulnerable human. A torrent of blood erupted from the warrior's mouth as another devastating strike connected, pushing him to his absolute breaking point. His body was failing, but the image of Koyuki waiting anchored the shattered soul to the fight. A ghost of the past flickered, Koyuki, frail but hopeful, asking her big brother for a simple soda. He remembered searching desolate, empty stores, the bitter taste of future failure already beginning to settle within him. It was a rare request, a moment of innocence he desperately yearned to protect from the coming darkness. The grim reality of his past, his sister's suffering, ignited a burning inferno behind his eyes. Koyuki's silent endurance, her pain hidden to spare him worry, flashed before the grieving brother's mind. He was meant to be her shield, her protector, yet in the future, he had failed her so catastrophically. The crushing weight of that past failure, his inability to save her, still haunted his every waking moment. He relived her final plea, "Big brother, run away," as the high-level demon closed in on her. Her dying wish echoed, "Please, big brother, live." A tear of blood welled in the warrior's eye. Never again. The desperate fighter swore with every fiber of his being, a silent, furious vow to prevent history repeating. He faced the colossal capybara, its monstrous form dwarfing him, a stark reminder of the overwhelming threats ahead. His hand glowed, clutching the vine, the energy coursing through him, urging him to command his power. A piercing screech tore through the forest, birds scattering as the monstrous beast prepared its final, furious lunge. The bleeding warrior felt something stir, hearing the very breath of the forest now, a connection forming. His eyes narrowed, resolve hardening, he was becoming one with the domain, his power awakening truly. Invisible tendrils of energy surged through the vines around him, responding to his desperate will. Vines shot forth, ensnaring the enraged beast mid-leap, twisting around its colossal body, making it screech in pain. The mighty monster was brought crashing down, bound and helpless, a testament to the warrior's surging power. Blood still dripped from his lips, but the young warrior knew his vines had granted him a vital reprieve. The bound beast thrashed furiously, its immense strength testing the limits of the ethereal vines. Its red eye gleamed with malevolent fury, desperately straining against the unexpected magical restraint. The colossal capybara roared, a guttural shriek of defiance, as the vines slowly began to tear. With a final, explosive surge, the young warrior delivered a decisive, blood-curdling blow to the trapped beast. Exhausted, bloodied but triumphant, the desperate fighter collapsed, a silent declaration of victory escaping his lips. Phase 2 Flow. Utterly spent, the wounded warrior fell to the ground, his body aching from pushing past its absolute limits. But then, a triumphant holographic message appeared, level up. Current level, 5. Bonus, damage recovery. The shattered soul lay sprawled, wounds still bleeding, as the system began to work its miraculous healing. His eyes fluttered open, witnessing the impossible. His gaze fell upon his body. To his astonishment, the crimson gashes and deep bites were rapidly fading, his wounds disappearing without a trace. Leveling up granted full damage recovery, a game-changing power that could potentially save him from critical future injuries. He then spotted it, the luminous energy core, pulsating above the defeated capybara, a blue crystal of immense power. This was the core sustaining the domain. Once gone, the entire dimension would vanish, taking him with it. As the core dissolved, it randomly transformed, shimmering into various energy shards and a sharp, gleaming blade. Luck was on his side. He now possessed a new weapon and precious energy stones, valuable assets for his quest. Suddenly, another item appeared, a vibrant, glowing purple flower, completely unfamiliar to him. The system identified it instantly: painkillers, powerful relief from agonizing afflictions. His heart surged with a desperate hope. Could these be used to alleviate Koyuki's agonizing domain poison? He remembered Koyuki's unbearable suffering, the torment of domain poison for which there was no known human cure. If this medicine worked, Koyuki would suffer no more. The system registered his gains, unlocking a new backpack function. But his elation was cut short. The system coldly declared the domain would disappear, along with his sensing ability. Wait, the desperate fighter demanded, trying to grasp the system's departing holographic form, seeking answers. His eyes widened, suddenly back in the familiar world, the domain's magical shimmer gone. He looked at the spot where he'd been, a strange outline left on the ground, wondering what transpired. With a burst of light, the magical energy of the disappearing domain consumed the space where he stood. Moments later, the young warrior found himself back on a bustling city street, disoriented but alive. He clenched the painkiller vial, his singular focus on getting home to Koyuki, desperate to try the new medicine. As he rushed, a familiar, thuggish voice snarled, "Hey, watch where you're walking." It was Chan, the bully from his past. The young warrior, unfazed, mumbled an apology and tried to hurry past. But Chan wouldn't let it go, loudly mocking him for daring to tell him to move aside. The bully's face contorted in anger, flexing his fist, ready to strike the perceived loser. Chan lunged forward, a powerful punch aimed squarely at the young warrior's face. But before the warrior could react, something inexplicable happened: his body moved on its own. His skills, especially sensing control, seemed to activate automatically, a silent guardian now protecting the desperate fighter. The street bully Chan threw a punch, but the seasoned warrior effortlessly swayed away, his reflexes unnervingly sharp. Chan swore, unable to believe the swift dodge, but the young man simply stared, his senses humming with newfound power. A primal fear flickered in Chan's eyes, an instinctual reaction to the warrior's sudden, profound change. The warrior realized his physical abilities had dramatically heightened, he could see air currents and react instantly. A system prompt confirmed his level 5 status and newly activated sensing control, making his body incredibly agile. Enraged by the defiance, Chan bellowed, vowing to crush the young warrior right here and now. Chan's gang cheered, convinced their king was about to assert his dominance and finish the challenger. The young warrior vaguely remembered tales of Chan, once considered the undisputed ruler of the streets. His memory flashed back to past beatings, a terrified, bloodied version of himself huddled on the floor. The shattered soul recalled his past terror, the absolute dread that Chan once inspired within him. But now, after facing monstrous domain beasts, Chan's threats felt utterly insignificant to the hardened warrior. The warrior's eyes blazed with renewed purpose, the past held no power over him anymore. Chan was nothing compared to the apocalyptic horrors he'd faced, a mere shadow of his former intimidation. The warrior moved with lightning speed, deflecting Chan's furious punch with a casual, devastating ease. The impact stunned Chan, his fist bouncing off the warrior's arm with an unexpected, jarring force. Chan's cronies watched in horror as their leader's attack was effortlessly brushed aside, their cheers dying. With a blur, the young warrior delivered a swift, brutal kick, sending Chan sprawling painfully to the ground. Lying defeated, Chan murmured disbelief: he had been utterly humiliated by someone he once tormented. Standing tall amidst shimmering energy, the victorious warrior made a clear declaration to his defeated bully. He promised Chan that from this day forward, he would be the one avoiding him, not the other way around. The shocked cronies, urged to attack, hesitated, witnessing the raw power now emanating from the young man. The bustling city street provided a stark backdrop to the swift, decisive change in power dynamics. The warrior surveyed the fallen thugs. The fight was over as quickly as it had begun. One of Chan's men struggled to his feet, unable to comprehend the overwhelming strength just displayed. The young warrior still marveled at his own victory, the stark difference from his weak past self astonishing him. A genuine smile broke through his blood-streaked face. These street thugs were truly nothing special. With the bullies defeated, his mind instantly raced back to his ailing sister, his true mission. He found Koyuki still sleeping, her pale face still etched with the subtle lines of pain and illness. Gazing at her, the grieving brother gently called her name, desperate to finally offer some relief. He carefully retrieved the glowing purple vial, his only hope for her cure, from his new inventory. Phase 2 Flow. The warrior held the painkiller vial, a potent glow radiating from the precious, life-saving elixir. His expression was grim, a mixture of hope and intense worry etched onto his battle-scarred face. He poured the shimmering purple liquid into Koyuki's mouth, a silent prayer escaping his lips. A wave of soothing energy washed over her, and her pained features visibly began to relax. The purple aura intensified, and Koyuki's peaceful slumber deepened, her suffering seemingly eased. Tears streamed down the warrior's face, a joyous, raw relief erupting as he witnessed her pain subside. He immediately consulted the system, which revealed more powerful antidote ingredients lay in far more dangerous domains. The message was clear: he had to continually enter domains and level up to secure Koyuki's full cure. Koyuki slowly woke, disoriented but surprised to find her chronic pain almost entirely gone. She acknowledged her body felt weak, yet the constant, grinding agony had miraculously vanished. Overwhelmed with relief, the young warrior pulled her into a tight embrace, confirming the antidote's success. Then Koyuki noticed his injuries, her eyes widening as she questioned his bloodied appearance. Her blue eyes were filled with sudden, intense alarm, seeing his face marked with fresh wounds. The warrior's face was indeed covered in cuts and bruises, a testament to his recent struggle. Gently touching his face, she demanded to know why he was so severely injured after such a short time away. A quick flashback to the clear skies outside highlighted the sudden, jarring changes in their world. She realized he had awakened a power, venturing into a domain and battling Chan's gang, all without telling her. The warrior tried to soothe her anger, offering her a bowl of porridge to distract her worry. But Koyuki refused, her voice rising in protest, unwilling for him to risk his life for her sake again. The young warrior listened silently, understanding her fear but knowing his painful future truth. He explained that the world had irreversibly changed, ignoring the domains would only guarantee their demise. Koyuki stared at her brother, stunned by his grim resolve. He was no longer the boy she knew. She remembered his old self, promising to simply hide if danger came, a stark contrast to his new warrior's spirit. Knowing his unwavering determination, she asked if he truly wouldn't stop pursuing this perilous path. She extracted a promise from him to prioritize his own safety, as he was her only remaining family. The young warrior smiled reassuringly, giving his solemn promise, despite the dangerous path ahead. He internally decided not to burden Koyuki with the full, terrifying truth about the perilous domain ingredients. Koyuki playfully insisted he feed her the porridge, a tender moment amidst the daunting new reality. He indulged her, their bond strengthening despite the immense weight of their apocalyptic future. Later, a mysterious woman's hand stirred a sizzling wok, hinting at new developments. Suddenly, a radiant woman named Lisa appeared, surrounded by glowing flowers and an alluring smile. She casually invited the warrior to join her party, exploring a dangerous domain on the city's western side. Lisa's eyes sparkled with an eager, almost reckless excitement, pulling him into another imminent adventure. The shattered soul relived his final moments, choking on blood and despair. The colossal demon's taunts echoed, mocking his ultimate, heartbreaking failure. It was a brutal reminder: he was nothing but crushed dust in that terrifying future. The sadistic monstrosity prepared for the killing blow, unleashing pure, fiery destruction. The dying warrior's vision blurred with rage and an unfulfilled promise. Awakening, the reborn fighter found himself back in a familiar, peaceful room. Yet, the haunting nightmare of his future death continued to plague his weary mind. He vowed to prevent that devastating future, facing any new or familiar horrors. The dedicated brother knelt beside Koyuki, a temporary peace finally gracing her features. This domain medicine, however, only offered fleeting comfort, a temporary shield from pain. Her condition would soon worsen, longer comas, increasing weakness. The danger remained. The harsh reality struck him: they were far from safe, this was merely a reprieve. The determined warrior knew, he had to enter the next, more dangerous domain immediately. His quest led him to a towering, fighting hall, a place for truly awakened individuals. The young warrior felt his leveled-up body, knowing his raw power had certainly improved. But his last fight was pure instinct, he needed proper strategy to survive this new world. His reckless approach caused him severe damage, he could not afford such mistakes again. This dangerous path demanded mastery, returning unscathed from domains required true skill. So, our hero resolved to keep leveling up, to push beyond his current limits. He entered the bustling hall, shocked by the sheer number of awakened ones present. A new recruit, he awkwardly declared his intent to learn true martial arts. The young warrior sensed immense magic power from another, clearly a higher level awakened. The instructor inquired about his level, expecting a strong answer from a newcomer. The new student hesitantly revealed his F class, the lowest possible rank. As a level 5, he was indeed the weakest F class, starting at rock bottom. The instructor directed him to pay a hefty fee, arranging a coach for his training. The practical hero tried to haggle, hoping for a discount on the steep price. A stern receptionist confirmed the payment was due, sealing his commitment. Thankfully, he had exchanged the energy stones from his last domain, he could afford this. The young warrior was addressed by name, preparing for his first real lesson. Phase 2 Flow. His eyes widened, recognizing a familiar, powerful aura. His new coach was Lisa, the very woman from his apocalyptic future. The startled warrior blushed deeply, a girl as his combat instructor. Lisa immediately challenged him, warning against underestimating her strength. Without warning, she swiftly closed the distance, her speed breathtaking. The fumbling fighter barely registered her lightning-fast movements. He felt her grip, realizing the immense power held within her seemingly gentle hands. In a flash, he was on the ground, pinned beneath his new, formidable instructor. Lisa's intense gaze underscored the vast difference in their skill levels. The bewildered fighter awkwardly tried to explain his stunned reaction. He mumbled, confessing her uncanny familiarity, a ghost of a memory stirring. She teasingly accused him of flirting, effortlessly pinning him with her feet. The perplexed warrior wondered why such a skilled fighter would coach a low-level F-class like him. He guessed she was stuck with the weaklings, no one else wanted him. Lisa smirked, despite his absent-mindedness, he was surprisingly sharp. She then revealed her own secret, she was also an F-class, unlike the D or C classes around them. She explained the crushing reality, the level gap was insurmountable in conventional fighting. Consequently, she was relegated to chores, unable to fight alongside higher-ranked awakened. But with a new F-class student, she finally had a chance to coach someone. Lisa then casually invited him to join her party for an upcoming domain exploration. The wary fighter, still reeling, tried to process the sudden, dangerous offer. She wasn't listening, her decision was made, pulling him into her orbit. But why did she seem so familiar? A distant memory nagged at the young hero. A searing flashback ignited, Lisa, engulfed in fiery power, an S-class warrior. It clicked. She was Lisa, the future's strongest S-class, fire-aligned awakened one. Why, then, was this incredibly powerful woman now inexplicably an F-class? The young warrior remembered a future where Lisa was a blazing S-class fire-aligned awakened one. Her combat skills were legendary, manipulating flames and winning every battle with her party. Yet, even that powerhouse Lisa tragically died one day, for reasons unknown. The time traveler mused how fate could twist so cruelly, changing Lisa's path completely. Who would have thought this future S-class would be an F-class, coaching him in the present? He saw a flashback of her humbly asking to join a party, only to be rejected for her low rank. Despite offering to be a rear guard, arguing more people meant more safety, they still hesitated. Another younger, annoyed F-class complained as they reluctantly allowed her to join. The young hero felt a pang of irritation, people never listened or took her seriously. He knew he needed to enter domains and level up, and a party offered safety. For the entire week, the grieving brother focused solely on training while caring for Koyuki. He relentlessly pushed his body at the fighting hall, honing his nascent powers. Suddenly, Lisa launched an unexpected attack, displaying incredible speed and precision. Her kick sent the warrior sprawling, the impact echoing through the training hall. Our hero gasped, realizing just how frighteningly strong Lisa already was, even now. Lisa scoffed, chastising the fallen warrior for being so weak and easily defeated. The battered young man pleaded for a moment's rest, just 5 minutes to catch his breath. As Lisa grabbed water, he reflected on her top-tier combat skills, despite her low F-class rank. He remembered that powerful near-death experiences could trigger second awakenings. Lisa, a future S-class, was destined to awaken in about a year, right before her tragic death. The desperate fighter wondered if he could somehow accelerate her awakening, changing fate. Suddenly, a system warning flashed, stopping him cold with a surge of energy. The system sternly warned that as a reincarnator, he couldn't reveal future events or risk chaos. He gulped, the chilling warning making him realize the gravity of his situation. Lisa launched another devastating kick, swiftly bringing the warrior back to reality. He barely managed to block her attack, skidding back across the floor. Lisa paused, shocked that he had actually managed to deflect her strike this time. He playfully complained about her sudden attack, insisting she call him master. Lisa just told him to get up. Training continued relentlessly, demanding obedience. She mused internally, wondering why the young warrior was suddenly dodging her attacks. Phase 2 Flow. Lisa realized the young warrior's growth rate was truly abnormal and increasing rapidly. Still, she sighed, lamenting that despite his talent, he was still an F-class like her. Soon, the party arrived at the next domain entrance, a seemingly ordinary tunnel. The group's leader, Kai, pointed to the structure, explaining it was their next domain. He confirmed that domains often looked mundane from the outside, hiding their true nature. Inside the tunnel, dark, swirling energy promised a perilous journey ahead for the team. Some F-class members nervously questioned entering, fearing the unknown dangers lurking within. Kai, exasperated, scoffed at their fear, reminding them of the rewards versus risk. He presented a glowing crystal orb, a magic detector, to reassure the anxious group. The orb glowed faintly, indicating a low magic concentration and a relatively safe domain. Kai confidently declared there was nothing to worry about, promising to handle any threats. The young warrior noted Kai's expensive detector, realizing he was an experienced domain navigator. With shouts of readiness, the party enthusiastically followed Kai into the unknown domain. The experienced fighter gently teased Lisa, asking if she was scared for her first domain entry. Lisa, a mischievous master, confidently declared she'd protect him, ruffling his hair playfully. Inside, eerie glowing mushrooms illuminated a dark, alien landscape, filling them with dread. Lisa whispered that the omnipresent glowing mushrooms might be a mutated species. Suddenly, the young warrior's eyes snapped open, sensing an immediate, unseen threat. Kai, holding a torch, yelled for everyone to prepare for battle. Something was coming fast. A swarm of red lizards with glowing eyes erupted, moving with terrifying speed. One mutated lizard lunged directly at Lisa, its fangs dripping with venom. Without hesitation, the young warrior surged forward, deflecting the attack with raw power. The creature crashed to the ground, its life extinguished, lying amidst the glowing fungi. The young hero immediately turned to Lisa, asking if she was harmed by the sudden assault. Lisa stared in stunned silence, a speck of blood on her chest, her eyes wide with shock. The powerful Lisa, the future S-class warrior, found herself trembling, utterly shaken by the recent lizard attack. The young warrior, observing her distress, gently checked on her, concerned about her unusual reaction. Another F-class party member, Jean, scoffed at Lisa's fear, questioning her courage and usefulness in the domain. He ruthlessly criticized her F-class status, accusing her of embarrassing herself, to which Lisa could only apologize. The young warrior's eyes narrowed, recognizing the disdain some higher-ranked awakened held for low-class fighters. Kai, the party leader, intervened, reminding Jean that fear was natural for a first-timer in a domain. He then shared his own clumsy first experience, attempting to ease Lisa's profound anxiety with relatable humility. Offering a warm smile, Kai assured Lisa he would protect her from any harm, radiating competence and kindness. The young warrior mused that Kai, despite being a C-class, showed genuine empathy, truly living up to his leader role. The entire F-class party then gathered, ready to split into smaller groups as the tunnel ahead branched off. Kai announced their plan to explore separately, confidently displaying his magic detector, a glowing blue crystal. He reassured everyone the crystal's steady color meant low risk, promising a retreat in an hour if no core appeared. Overconfident F-class members boasted about handling the red lizards, eager to complete their mission. Lisa, however, remained thoughtful and somber, still processing the recent near-death experience in silence. The young warrior gently urged her forward, ready to proceed with their assigned exploration route. Another F-class party member grumbled to Kai that he was too lenient with the lower-ranked awakened. Kai simply smiled, affirming that all his party members were valuable, regardless of their current class. Suddenly, another mutated lizard lunged, but the agile combatant swiftly struck, impaling the beast with his blade. Lisa, still visibly shaken, tried to compose herself, her hands glowing faintly as she denied her fear. The monstrous lizard twitched and gargled its last breaths, its red eyes dimming in death. Lisa recoiled, her face contorted in a mix of disgust and fear as she instinctively shielded herself. Her pupils dilated with terror, reflecting the raw, primal fear she desperately tried to suppress. The young warrior, having dispatched the threat, watched her closely, recognizing her profound vulnerability. Lisa sank to the ground, overcome by the sheer terror of the domain, questioning her own strength. The shattered soul lamented her perceived weakness, believing she couldn't survive in such a perilous place. "That's not true," the young warrior countered, his voice firm with undeniable conviction. He promised she would adapt, grow stronger, and eventually surpass everyone, becoming an unmatched force. Extending his hand, the confident warrior urged her not to give up, to believe in the power within herself. Lisa looked up, tears in her eyes, profoundly grateful for his unwavering faith and encouragement. The determined warrior revealed his own fears, but declared his resolve to never run away, driven by a powerful purpose. Phase 2 Flow. He asked Lisa if she, too, had a compelling reason to become stronger, a hidden fire within her. Lisa blushed, a hint of embarrassment coloring her face as she thought of Kai, perhaps her own hidden motivation. She stammered about Kai's fairness, denying any deeper feelings, while the warrior teasingly connected her to the leader. As they delved deeper, eerie, glowing blue mushrooms illuminated their path through the treacherous domain. Suddenly, the young warrior's senses flared. He grabbed Lisa, warning her that something ominous approached. From the shadows, a grotesque, man-eating plant emerged, its red, pulsating core radiating malice. The mutated plant stood menacingly, its dark presence immediately chilling the air around them. The young warrior dismissed its immediate threat but sensed a deeper, more insidious danger from the plant. Lisa, recovering her courage, insisted on handling the plant herself, her eyes glowing with newfound resolve. "Hold on," the young warrior exclaimed, stopping her, his instincts screaming a dire warning. He confessed a terrible premonition, an inexplicable feeling of dread about the innocuous-looking flora. His instincts were blaring, this wasn't just any mutated plant, something terrifying lurked within or around it. He instructed Lisa to stay back and merely observe, cautioning her fiercely not to approach the strange plant. Lisa, recognizing the warrior's unusual urgency, instantly agreed, her previous confidence now subdued. The man-eating plant stood motionless, its malevolent aura subtly pulsating, seemingly waiting. The young warrior and Lisa watched intently, a growing unease settling over them, as red sparks flickered. Then, to their astonishment, the ominous plant vanished completely, leaving only lingering dark energy. The warrior's eyes widened, the plant was gone, but its terrifying presence still permeated the very air. He urged Lisa to remain still for a while longer, sensing the danger had merely shifted, not disappeared. 10 minutes passed, and the unsettling presence finally dissipated, just as a scream ripped through the air. That voice, the young warrior realized with horror. It was an E-class member from their party, indicating extreme peril. Distant screams echo through the tunnel, signaling brutal combat. The young warrior realizes their E-class party members are in extreme peril. He senses a sinister, alien energy permeating the entire domain, making it far more treacherous than it appears. Lisa, shaken, worries about the party's fate, despite their powerful companions facing unknown dangers. The agile combatant silences her, his senses flaring, indicating an imminent, invisible threat approaching their position. He warns Lisa that the terrifying presence from the vanishing plant has returned, now closer and more menacing. Suddenly, the grotesque man-eating plant reappears, pulsating with dark, malevolent energy, its presence chilling the air. Lisa, frozen with fear, is shielded by the young warrior as two figures emerge from the shadows behind the plant. To Lisa's immense relief, she recognizes one figure as Kai, their confident C-class leader. However, Kai and his sinister accomplice casually declare everyone else dead, having gathered enough intel. Lisa's face contorts in horrified realization, her hopeful relief instantly replaced by utter dread. Kai reveals his true nature, explaining how a cunning creature in the domain becomes quiet after devouring its prey. He callously admits to using the E-class and F-class losers as mere bait to draw out the elusive beast. His accomplice agrees, sneering that low-ranked awakened are nothing but worthless trash, useful only as expendable bait. The young warrior's mind races, piecing together the horrifying betrayal, realizing Kai's entire act was a calculated deception. Lisa stares, her eyes welling with tears as Kai's kind words and protective demeanor shatter into cruel mockery. She remembers Kai's previous encouragement, how he told her not to put herself down for being F-class. His words about even F-class members contributing in a domain now sound like a twisted, hollow lie. Overwhelmed by the brutal deception, Lisa collapses, burying her face in her hands, realizing it was all a lie. Meanwhile, Kai's accomplice wonders why the bodies of their sacrificial party members are absent, questioning if they were devoured. Kai, surprised, ponders if something unforeseen angered the hidden creature, disrupting his calculated plan. Unbeknownst to them, eerie glowing blue mushrooms line the cavern, subtly influencing their perceptions. Suddenly, unseen sounds echo from the darkness ahead, and glowing red eyes pierce the gloom. Kai and his accomplice exchange wary glances, sensing a powerful presence emerging from the shadows. A colossal, winged beast with glowing red eyes materializes, unleashing a terrifying supersonic attack. Kai curses, realizing this formidable creature is not the one they anticipated, and it refuses to remain calm. The young warrior shields Lisa again, recognizing the rapid succession of unexpected, terrifying threats in this domain. The massive bat-like creature lunges, prompting Kai's accomplice to charge forward, intending to kill it. Kai shouts, urgently stopping his partner from rushing into the unpredictable fray. The accomplice, momentarily restrained, witnesses the powerful, bat-like fiend lunging with deadly intent. The accomplice is caught, thrown violently through the air as the monstrous bat unleashes its furious attack. Phase 2 Flow. The bat-like monster effortlessly flings him aside, leaving the party in even greater disarray. Kai steps forward, his hand glowing with dark energy, preparing to unleash his full power against the imposing beast. He channels immense ice magic, charging a devastating attack toward the mutated fiend. In a brilliant flash, Kai freezes the colossal bat mid-air, encasing it in shimmering blue ice crystals. The young warrior watches, stunned by Kai's sudden display of terrifying C-class power, quickly dispatching the threat. Kai, now confident, taunts the frozen beast, believing he has easily subdued it. But the frozen monster suddenly cracks and glows with renewed fury, shattering the ice that contained it. The powerful bat creature strikes back, its red lightning engulfing Kai, who cries out in pain. Kai is mercilessly slammed into the wall, collapsing wounded as his illusion of control shatters. The young warrior swiftly pulls Lisa back into the shadows, observing Kai's swift and brutal defeat. He glances at the unconscious accomplice, realizing his injuries are severe and life-threatening. Lisa, overwhelmed, stares at the horrific scene, her eyes wide with terror and despair. The determined warrior gently covers her eyes, shielding her from the unfolding brutality. He urges her to calm down, knowing panic will lead to their demise in this treacherous domain. The young warrior notes the strange differences between their encounters and the other parties, suspecting illusions. He suddenly notices the previously blue mushrooms now glowing an eerie red, confirming his suspicion. He realizes the mushrooms are creating vivid hallucinations, manipulating their perceptions within the domain. The young warrior urgently asks Lisa to burn the mutated mushrooms with her fire, hoping to break the illusion. He deduces that the plant and bat were likely illusions, but the wounds and fear are undeniably real. His eyes blaze with resolve, burning the source of the hallucinations could reveal the true threat. The warrior and Lisa brace themselves, hoping to see the creature's actual, unmutated form. As the mushrooms burn, the illusion shatters, revealing a colossal, terrifying mutated snake as their true, hidden enemy. As the hallucinations shatter, a colossal mutated snake emerges, the domain's horrifying true form and the monster that killed everyone. The determined warrior's eyes widen, spotting the colossal snake's glowing energy core, knowing this is their only path out. Overwhelmed by terror, Lisa suggests they flee while the beast returns to its nest, momentarily unaware of its full power. But the enraged serpent strikes instantly, its massive body slamming down, narrowly missing the agile combatant and Lisa. The true fiend looms large, purple energy crackling, as Lisa collapses beneath its terrifying presence. The young warrior realizes the creature isn't calming down, it must intend to kill everyone in the area. The monstrous snake coils, its red eyes glowing with malice, readying for another devastating strike against the helpless duo. The young warrior pulls Lisa back, barely dodging the monstrous serpent's deadly fangs in a desperate, close call. The colossal snake whips its tail, brutally slamming into the hero and Lisa, splattering blood across the cavern. Blood dripping, the young warrior realizes the beast is furious that they saw through its illusion. Confrontation is inevitable. He grimly understands their stark options: destroy the monster's core to escape, or become its next meal. The wounded warrior reveals his desperate plan: he will bind the serpent with vines, and Lisa must ignite them immediately. Panic-stricken, Lisa, still bleeding, cries out that she can't possibly face such a terrifying creature. The young warrior's eyes bore into hers, declaring they will die if they don't fight now, urging her to find her resolve. He emphasizes their impossible situation, reminding Lisa that they truly have no other choice but to fight. Focusing his mind, the determined combatant extends his hand, attempting to reach the ambient vines. Suddenly, Lisa screams a warning, her eyes wide with terror as the monstrous snake lunges. The enormous snake slams into the young warrior, sending him flying backward, blood gushing from his mouth. He crashes violently into the cavern wall, powerful vines emerging to break his fall and ensnare the serpent. Clutching a vine, the bleeding warrior pulls himself up, his eyes locked on the immense beast. The young warrior strains, his power surging, as the vines begin to bind the colossal snake. With his sensing control now active, the furious warrior demands Lisa unleash her fire upon the trapped beast. Now, Lisa, the young warrior bellows, his voice raw with urgency, urging her to strike the bound fiend. Lisa, despite her fear, hears his command, she must set the vines ablaze with her fire. The determined warrior admits his own fear but declares his unwavering resolve, driven by a powerful purpose. Lisa, summoning her courage, affirms her duty as an awakened one, to close the domain. Her eyes blaze with renewed fire as she ignites her hands, determined not to back down. Vines whip around the struggling, colossal snake, electrifying it with searing, binding power. Lisa unleashes a torrent of flames, engulfing the bound snake in a blazing inferno. Tears of triumph stream down Lisa's face, they did it. Or so she believes for a fleeting moment. Phase 2 flow. But the bleeding warrior knows something is terribly wrong, the monster shouldn't have reacted so mildly to their attack. Suddenly, the colossal snake rips free, whipping its tail and launching a furious counterattack, sending Lisa flying. The monstrous serpent brutally slams Lisa against the cavern, her body splattering blood on the ancient stone. Lisa, the young warrior screams, his voice filled with frantic worry, seeing her fall to the ground. The immense, glowing serpent looms over the wounded Lisa, threatening to finish her. Damn it, the desperate combatant curses, realizing he made a critical miscalculation. He notices a strange, pulsing light from within the massive snake's body, radiating with sinister energy. That light. It matches the glowing mushrooms. Could the true snake itself have been an illusion? The warrior wonders. The giant, enraged snake strikes again, its fangs dripping venom, knocking the wounded Lisa to the ground. The young warrior attempts a desperate charge, but the colossal serpent easily deflects him, throwing him back. Slamming against the wall, the agile combatant feels intense pain, realizing the beast's immense power. Shielding his face, the warrior grimly discerns the new, horrifying truth before him. He observes the colossal snake now coiling, its body glowing with newfound, terrible power. The warrior, injured, is flung violently by the snake's power, crashing hard onto the unforgiving ground. With blood dripping, the hero gasps, finally understanding, this is the monster's true indestructible form. The mutated snake rears back, its immense jaws open wide, revealing why their fire had no effect. The determined warrior tries a desperate blade strike, but it bounces off the monster's impenetrable scales. He realizes with dread that the creature's body is made of stone, no weapon can damage it. The stone serpent twists, its eyes glowing malevolently, as the warrior scrambles for a plan. Damn it, I won't give up, the bleeding warrior declares, his sensing control flaring to life. A new, terrifying challenge awaits the young warrior and Lisa. The fight is far from over. The young warrior observes the colossal serpent, realizing sinister magic courses through its stone body. He deduces this hidden energy must be the monstrous fiend's critical weak point. Wounded and bleeding, the agile combatant knew he had to reach it, but the beast was too swift. With blinding speed, the colossal snake lunged, its fangs poised to strike. Our hero, still bleeding and defiant, braced himself against the relentless assault. From the ground, the injured Lisa watched in awe, wondering why he still refused to retreat. Then, a memory flashed, Lisa's relentless training, her powerful kicks always pushing him further. He remembered her strict lessons, deflecting his attempts to merely evade, demanding he counterattack. He recalled shielding himself, protesting her overwhelming strength and rapid-fire strikes. She would angrily demand he engage, not just dodge her blistering attacks. He'd tease her back, claiming only evasive maneuvers saved him from the hospital. Lisa had been furious, emphasizing his growth yet still demanding more from him. Her stern eyes had reminded him to defeat her, not just flee her attacks. You can't just run from a stronger foe, she warned. You must find a way to counter. Back in the present, Lisa realized his unbreakable resolve mirrored her own past teachings. Fueled by sheer willpower, the bleeding warrior activated his sensing control, declaring the fight far from over. Golden vines erupted from the ground, swirling with fierce energy around the determined fighter. The potent tendrils slammed into the colossal snake, beginning to ensnare the enraged fiend. The agile combatant leaped, landing on the serpent's back, his blade ready to strike its core. He plunged his sharpened blade deep into the creature, aiming for its pulsating energy core. The warrior reflected on his increasing power, Lisa's brutal training pushing him further. His mind replayed Lisa's relentless drills, those demanding training sessions pushing his limits. Back to the present, he fixed his gaze on the snake's core, steeling himself. With his new strength, he felt a surge of defiant confidence, believing victory was within reach. He knew the colossal monster's core was its only vulnerability, driving his blade downward. The sharpened edge slammed against the pulsating rock, aiming for total annihilation. But his blade met unyielding stone, deflecting with a shower of impotent sparks. With a grim realization, the warrior understood, his blade was useless. He had to find another way. A surge of raw energy erupted from his hands, glowing with an unprecedented, vibrant power. He unleashed a devastating force, shattering the monstrous serpent's stone form and sending him flying. Phase 2 Flow. The colossal fiend exploded into a shower of purple debris, its reign of terror finally over. Exhausted, the victorious warrior tumbled amidst the collapsing remnants of the defeated beast. The system blazed with triumph, 3 immediate level-ups. The weary combatant had survived once more. He then grasped the massive, pulsating blue energy core, the domain's power source. The core dissolved, leaving behind a shimmering golden energy stone and swirling power. The warrior eyed the precious golden stone, already calculating its potential value. He then reached for the swirling golden essence, a mysterious power he had just acquired. The young warrior stared, mesmerized by the strange, potent energy now at his command. The system declared a new skill, psychic attack. He was shocked, such power from a core was unprecedented. His priority was clear, Lisa lay gravely wounded. He had to get her to a hospital, fast. He scooped up the barely conscious Lisa, her pained gasps confirming her severe injuries. Lisa whispered of surrender, but the determined warrior vowed she'd become a legendary awakened. Her voice barely a whisper, Lisa shivered, feeling her life slip away, begging for warmth. This isn't a dream, he cried, holding her close. Believe in me, Lisa. Stay with me. So warm, she murmured, a faint smile on her lips, thank you. Farewell. No, he roared, refusing to let another person he cared for die before his eyes. The system flashed, vitality transfer unlocked. All basic skills were now available. His eyes widened in disbelief, recognizing the extraordinary potential of this new ability. Golden energy streamed from him, flowing into a shimmering pool, a conduit of life. He poured his very essence into Lisa, desperately willing her back from the brink of death. Miraculously, golden light enveloped Lisa, her wounds healing as she slowly stood upright. He rushed to her side, relief flooding him as Lisa stirred, her pain visibly receding. Then, a jarring shift. He woke, his eyes snapping open in unfamiliar surroundings. He shot upright in a hospital bed, a desperate cry escaping his lips for Lisa. Disoriented, he questioned his presence, a gaping hole where his recent memories should be. A terrifying thought chilled him, had Lisa's miraculous revival merely been a cruel, elaborate dream? The young warrior's eyes snapped open in an unfamiliar hospital room, a wave of confusion washing over him. Dizziness clouded his mind, his body aching, as he instinctively pushed off the bed. His heart pounded with a single, desperate thought, he had to find Lisa. To his profound relief, the future S-class warrior, Lisa, stood framed in the doorway, staring at him. She questioned his haste, reminding him of his weakened state and need for rest. The young warrior stumbled into her embrace, overwhelming relief washing over him. Thank goodness, she was safe. A moment of awkwardness followed, as he realized his overzealous hug. Embarrassed, he mumbled an apology, which Lisa quickly dismissed with a kind smile. He then questioned if he had passed out after their brutal battle. Lisa confirmed his collapse, adding that his injuries had miraculously healed, but she worried about his actions. Flashbacks of their brutal fight consumed the warrior, recalling his collapse after defeating the snake. He remembered Lisa helping him, urging them to escape the collapsing domain. Despite her own severe injuries, the determined warrior recalled her struggle to support his heavy frame. He grimly remembered their desperate escape, Lisa refusing to leave him behind amidst the chaos. They had barely made it out of the collapsing cave, dodging falling debris. Back in the hospital, the warrior apologized for being a burden, acknowledging her strength in helping him. Lisa, however, playfully dismissed his concerns, teasing him about embracing her while delirious. They shared a moment of light-hearted banter, easing the tension of their grim ordeal. The warrior, flustered, tried to explain his actions, prompting Lisa to smile and thank him for the warmth. Then, a serious question, she wondered if he possessed a healing skill, astonished by his recovery. The young warrior realized she meant vitality transfer, his newly unlocked power, wondering if its exertion caused his blackout. Yet, an unsettling feeling lingered, he sensed he was forgetting something crucial. He then brought up the government, noting their silence despite the high casualties in the domain. Lisa confirmed the authorities had questioned her, explaining everything about Kai and the Fallen Awakened. The government was skeptical, she revealed, but autopsies confirmed mutated creatures caused the deaths. Their conclusion, Kai and Jean died in combat, while Lisa and the warrior survived by sheer luck. The young warrior pressed, asking if she mentioned his role in the fight. Lisa explained concealing his F-class victory and healing skill would prevent a storm. He thanked her, agreeing that secrecy was vital, especially regarding his reincarnation and system. Exposing his true nature would lead to constant government monitoring and attract dangerous groups. Lisa snapped him back to reality, curious about his sudden deep thought. Phase 2 Flow. Lisa promised to never reveal his secret, even offering to hypnotize herself. The warrior, touched by her loyalty, instinctively confessed Lisa was special to him. Realizing his slip, he quickly backtracked, flustered by his unexpected words. He announced his urgent need to get to the fighting hall, leaving Lisa to recover. As she left, Lisa turned, asking if the fighting hall had treated him poorly after the incident. She reassured him, saying everyone was surprised but angry at Kai and Jean for their betrayal. The warrior acknowledged her words, watching Lisa promise to return tomorrow. Lisa paused outside the room, a somber expression clouding her face. Her purple eyes showed a hint of worry, reflecting on the recent traumatic events. Meanwhile, high above, a mysterious figure reviewed details of the domain incident. He questioned how two F-class awakened could survive where C-class died, sensing something suspicious. Trusting his intuition, the enigmatic figure ordered an investigation into the two survivors. Days later, the warrior discharged himself, eager to avoid worrying Koyuki. He arrived home, greeted by his overjoyed sister, who rushed into his arms. Koyuki hugged him tightly, overflowing with relief that he was safe. 1 month later, the young warrior reflected on his accelerated healing, a benefit of his level-ups. He also recalled acquiring psychic attack and unlocking vitality transfer from his last battle. Vitality transfer, he mused, could draw life force from living beings to heal himself or others. His next step, selling the golden energy stone from the colossal snake. To avoid suspicion, he chose the black market, noticing how quickly such places emerged even before the apocalypse. The transaction was swift, the funds already deposited into his account. The young warrior, focused on his phone, prepared for his next move. A colossal sum of 50 million yen floods the young warrior's bank account. Ryo stares, wide-eyed and stunned, at the immense fortune from his energy stone. The mysterious dealer confirms the stone's extraordinary value, no mistake was made. She calmly offers a refund, sensing Ryo's momentary bewilderment at the windfall. Ryo quickly accepts, his thoughts already turning to new possibilities. He envisions a life free from financial worries, dreaming of a better home. Imagining Koyuki's joy in a new, luxurious apartment, the hero allows himself a brief fantasy. But grim reality reasserts itself, material wealth is meaningless when the apocalypse looms. His mission remains clear, greater skill, more domains, Koyuki's permanent cure. He needs tools. The dealer presents an elemental-infused blade, promising increased attack speed and power. Donning his GI, Ryo arrives at the fighting hall, only to discover its unexpected relocation. Confusion washes over Ryo, Lisa had neglected to mention the move. His sensing control flares, instantly detecting an intense, hostile energy from within. Inside, a distraught Lisa lies on the floor, vehemently denying a heated accusation. Senior Goda, a powerful awakened, rages, his fist crackling with destructive, blue energy. He unleashes a devastating punch, shattering the very floor in a display of raw power. Goda pauses, startled by an unseen presence interrupting his furious display. Ryo stands, protecting Lisa, asking if she's harmed, stunning her with his timely arrival. The protective warrior confronts Lisa, questioning her earlier reassurances about the hall's members. Lisa, looking remorseful, apologizes for concealing the truth, wanting to spare him worry. Senior Goda demands to know Ryo's identity, preparing for another confrontation. Another awakened explains Ryo is a new F-class who survived Kai's deadly domain. Goda mocks Ryo, accusing him of getting Kai killed, finding the timing quite convenient. Other awakened scoff at Ryo's vine manipulation, ridiculing his F-class ability as trivial. Ryo gently urges Lisa to rest, sensing a formidable challenge awaits him. A confident smile crosses the warrior's face, he assures Lisa he'll handle everything. Ryo recalls initial awakened assessments were flawed, but records now track evolving abilities. He muses on his rapid growth, knowing his true level far surpasses F-class. Senior Goda and his D-class companions stand ready, their arrogant power on full display. The young warrior proposes a daring bet: if he wins, they must cease harassing Lisa. Phase 2 Flow. Goda's group scoffs, dismissing Ryo's challenge as suicidal madness. Senior Goda accepts the audacious wager, promising no mercy for the insolent F-class. Ryo agrees, unflustered by the aggressive grab, accepting their harsh terms. Spectators murmur, questioning an F-class challenging the powerful D-classes and their leader. Lisa watches, knowing Ryo's strategic mind, yet doubting an F-class could defeat a C-class. One of Goda's D-class subordinates steps forward, eager to defeat the F-class himself. The determined warrior's blade flares with power. Then go ahead and try, Ryo challenges, ready for battle. A D-class subordinate lunges, shouting about his powerful awakened might, ready to crush the young warrior. But the agile combatant, his new elemental blade flaring, effortlessly evades the attack with blinding speed. The subordinate swings a staff, yet the young warrior parries and counters, his blue energy blazing. With a decisive blow, the powerful hero punches through the subordinate's defense, connecting with brutal force. The D-class foe recoils in shock, realizing the young warrior possesses terrifying, unexpected strength. The D-class challenges, asking if the swift combatant will keep running, desperate to land a hit. The young warrior, shrouded in blue energy, declares he is merely waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. His eyes burn with fierce determination, confirming he waits for the precise moment to unleash his full power. Unleashing his blade, the agile combatant strikes again, his elemental energy overwhelming the D-class opponent. The D-class, still confident, dismisses the young warrior's speed as insufficient to truly defeat him. Lisa, watching from the sidelines, worries the class gap is too vast, making Ryo's counterattack seem impossible. But the cunning warrior smirks, asking if they mistook him for being merely fast, his resolve unwavering. With a devastating kick powered by surging blue energy, he declares his skills have already leveled up far beyond their expectations. The D-class subordinate is sent reeling, blood gushing from his face in pure, stunned disbelief. The opponent crashes into the wall, defeated and utterly humiliated by the supposedly weaker F-class. Lisa watches in awe, her eyes wide with shock and newfound respect for the young hero's power. Senior Goda, arms crossed, glares in disbelief, questioning how an F-class could fell a D-class so easily. The triumphant warrior stands firm, his blade glowing, declaring his victory and demanding the next challenge. Senior Goda steps forward, enveloped in sinister purple energy, challenging the warrior to catch him. Phase 2 Flow. The battlefield erupts in purple, as the D-class leader's terrifying power surrounds the young combatant. Ryo is momentarily disoriented, barely dodging the invisible attacks, surprised by Goda's vanishing acts. Suddenly, the warrior reappears behind Goda, startling him, declaring his proximity with a confident glare. But Goda's pervasive purple magic strikes, wounding the hero, who grimaces in painful realization. The teleporting foe taunts the wounded warrior, questioning how he plans to win without even locating him. Ryo, bleeding but defiant, refuses to back down, enduring the relentless magical onslaught. Goda sneers, offering a false reprieve, beg for mercy, and perhaps he might be spared. The agile combatant realizes his opponent possesses a formidable teleportation skill, making him incredibly elusive. Goda boasts of his own enhanced detection, confirming the stubborn warrior cannot escape his sight. Intense magical energy swirls, as the D-class leader prepares a devastating, unseen attack on the bleeding hero. But amidst the chaos, Ryo strikes with his blade, declaring, "Found you," as their clashing energies collide. The agile combatant, wounded but resolute, desperately searched for any vulnerability in Goda's relentless assault. Senior Goda, brimming with confidence, taunted his F-class opponent, ready to unleash another devastating strike. A blinding column of blue energy erupted, slamming down upon the young warrior with immense force. The bleeding hero struggled to rise, bruised but analyzing the surprising fluctuations in Goda's attack power. A chilling realization dawned upon the warrior: Goda's power pulsed strongest during his first and fifth strikes. During other attacks, Goda's magical presence significantly waned, a crucial pattern emerging in the chaos. So, Goda's attacks fluctuate dramatically. After his last massive strike, his magical power must now be weakening. Goda, unaware of being outmaneuvered, confidently prepared to finish off the seemingly helpless warrior. Suddenly, the arrogant D-class leader's eyes widened in utter disbelief. The young warrior, instead of dodging, charged directly into Goda's weakening magical onslaught. Ignoring the blows, the determined combatant confirmed his theory: the power of each strike was indeed lower. With a burst of golden energy, the hero leaped, blade now blazing with terrifying intent. Goda recoiled in shock, questioning how an F-class could emit such overwhelming killing intent. The agile combatant landed a brutal, golden energy-infused kick, sending Senior Goda sprawling to the ground. Our hero pressed his advantage, his elemental blade flashing, placing it ominously against Goda's throat. Declaring his victory, the young warrior faced Goda's shocked disbelief, knowing the gamble had paid off. The confident combatant asserted that true strength came from risking one's life in real fights, not mere rank. Surrounded by Goda's enraged subordinates, the triumphant hero declared them the real weaklings here. Furious, Goda's remaining D-class companions vowed to avenge their leader and unleash their full power. From the side, Lisa watched in horror, desperately screaming a warning to the warrior. The young warrior's eyes blazed with renewed determination as he prepared for the impending 3-on-1 assault. Two D-class awakened launched a combined physical attack, forcing the agile combatant into evasive action. A third D-class unleashed a devastating purple magical attack, catching the warrior mid-air and drawing blood. Piercing agony shot through the young warrior as the unseen magic tore into his back. Despite the pain, the determined combatant clenched his teeth, recognizing Goda's unique teleportation skill. Goda effortlessly shifted position, unleashing another torrent of pervasive blue magic, relentlessly pummeling the hero. The D-class leader mocked the bleeding warrior, boasting of his enhanced detection and predicting Ryo's defeat. Lisa, seeing Ryo overwhelmed, prepared to unleash her fiery power, screaming his name in desperation. A new figure, an awakened in blue, swiftly grabbed Lisa, preventing her interference in the chaotic battle. Lisa struggled, furiously protesting the unfair 3-on-1 fight against a single F-class. Phase 2 flow. Goda sneered, dismissing Lisa's plea, emphasizing that in awakened combat, fairness was a luxury. The blue-clad awakened smirked, announcing they were fighting fair and square, within their own twisted rules. Goda coldly warned Ryo that accidents happen, especially when higher-ranked awakened fight lesser ones. Wounded and cornered, the desperate warrior realized he had to use his unprecedented psychic attack skill. As the warrior activated his new ability, bolts of blue lightning surged, hitting Goda with unseen force. Goda's eyes widened in confusion, the psychic assault disorienting him, making him question his reality. His subordinate stared, bewildered, wondering where the seemingly invincible Ryo had vanished. Suddenly, a monstrous purple snake with glowing eyes materialized before Goda, its terrifying presence crushing him. The hallucination forced Goda to relive Kai's gruesome death, believing the colossal snake was real and deadly. The illusionary serpent coiled, its immense power causing Goda to tremble in absolute, paralyzing terror. Overwhelmed by fear, Goda shrieked in primal horror, his composure utterly shattered by the psychic attack. He screamed for the beast to stay away, begging for mercy from the illusionary fiend. Completely broken, Goda collapsed to the ground, desperately pleading for someone to save him. Lisa, still held, observed Goda's terrified reaction, understanding Ryo had unleashed something terrifyingly effective. Goda's bewildered subordinates desperately tried to rouse their leader, who lay petrified on the floor. The young warrior, battered but triumphant, reflected on the immense power of his newly unlocked psychic attack. Goda's furious subordinates vowed vengeance, enraged by their leader's humiliating defeat. The wounded warrior, his body still unable to move freely, knew he had to try yet another untested skill. Weeks of intense training had sharpened his sensing abilities, allowing him to perceive even subtle heartbeats. With a powerful, golden energy-infused punch, the determined combatant slammed his fist to the ground. The entire fighting hall shook violently, as if struck by an earthquake, stunning all the awakened. What cosmic force was reacting to the young warrior's growing power? The epic fight continues. The fighting hall shook violently as Ryo slammed his golden fist, unleashing a cosmic force. Senior Goda shrieked in terror, trapped in a horrifying illusion of Kai's gruesome death. Ryo's unseen, psychic attack broke Goda's mind, leaving the defeated leader utterly petrified. Lisa watched in stunned relief, while a bewildered Goda lay unconscious, his subordinates in shock. The young warrior, battered but triumphant, stood over the fallen, asserting his hard-won victory. A D-class subordinate stared, utterly dumbfounded by Goda's sudden, inexplicable defeat. Ryo's blade, still glowing with power, dripped blood from the intense confrontation. Goda's remaining subordinate, utterly humiliated, collapsed against a shattered wall. The system blazed, "Level up! Level up! You have reached level 15. Ryo felt renewed. The bleeding warrior, dizzy from exertion, leaned heavily on the worried Lisa, who rushed to his side. Lisa's voice filled with concern, checking on the hero who just faced down overwhelming odds. The young warrior staggered, his vision blurring, but Lisa held him firm. Dizziness clouded his senses, yet Lisa offered unwavering support, telling him to lean on her. Whispers rippled through the spectators. How did this F-class defeat Senior Goda? Amazement turned to disbelief, an F-class beating a D-class and 3 others. Unthinkable. A high-ranking awakened realized Ryo was no ordinary person, requiring immediate report to the president. The young warrior, exhausted, vaguely sensed something odd, a lingering energy from the ground. Others, too, felt the residual strange energy, wondering if it was their imagination. Suddenly, the fighting hall's owner appeared, furious at the extensive damage to his establishment. Lisa quickly identified the rarely seen owner to the confused warrior. She explained the owner might sell the hall due to his son's marriage, leaving F-classes displaced. The young warrior's expression hardened, realizing the severity of their situation. The enraged owner declared a breach of contract, warning that no one would buy the damaged hall. A furious D-class subordinate twisted the truth, blaming Lisa and Ryo for deliberate destruction. Lisa reeled in shock, protesting the outrageous false accusations and blaming them for everything. The conniving subordinate gloated, trying to shift blame and escape repercussions from the angry owner. The young warrior calmly asked the owner the selling price, shocking everyone. With a confident smile, the young warrior declared he would buy the hall, ignoring his own wounds. Everyone stared, eyes wide with disbelief. The room exploded in incredulous murmurs. The D-class subordinate scoffed, ridiculing Ryo's audacity and questioning his ability to pay. Phase 2 flow. The young warrior, resolute, sought to finalize the sale immediately, including Lisa in his plans. To Lisa's astonishment, the determined warrior declared the fighting hall would now be hers. The D-class subordinate reeled back in utter shock, his world had just turned upside down. With Lisa in charge, no one could look down on her, and she could enforce the rules. The humiliated D-class stared, utterly defeated, as the young warrior strode confidently away with Lisa. Lisa questioned the young warrior's impossible act, her mind reeling from his generosity. The bleeding warrior faltered, his injuries still severe, but his resolve remained unbroken. He urged Lisa forward, seeking respite near a large tree to gather his remaining strength. Leaning on the tree, the young warrior braced himself, Lisa watching with concern. His hand glowed, channeling golden energy as he drew strength from the ancient tree itself. Golden energy pulsed around the young warrior, visibly healing his deep wounds. Lisa stared, utterly mesmerized, recognizing it as Ryo's incredible healing skill. The young warrior absorbed the tree's vitality, becoming one with its life force. With his wounds fully healed, the young warrior simply thanked the ancient tree for its essence. He turned to Lisa, asking again about her concerns, now completely restored. Lisa, still astonished, stammered her reluctance to accept such a massive gift so easily. The young warrior explained Lisa knew the hall best, perfectly suited to manage their future endeavors. He revealed his vision, recruiting awakened by character, not class, fostering true trust. He remembered Lisa's future self, a charismatic leader building trust despite her low rank. He envisioned a party united by trust, conquering domains and sharing spoils, just like her future. Lisa, managing the hall, could even accelerate her destined second awakening, Rio mused. Her eyes shining with hope, Lisa turned to him, asking if he would join her in this new venture. But the young warrior, his resolve unshakable, declined. Someone more important awaited him. Lisa's eyes widened, questioning Rio's priorities and if someone more important than her. The young warrior affirmed he would sacrifice everything for her. Koyuki was his very reason for living. Lisa understood, accepting her new role as fighting hall manager with a determined nod. She promised Rio to focus entirely on his vital mission, managing the hall on her own. The agile combatant smiled, promising to return often for training, fueling Lisa's quiet anticipation. With a wave, our hero departed, leaving Lisa alone to ponder his unwavering resolve. Lisa knew Rio's dangerous path was inevitable, realizing she couldn't abandon him. Her resolve hardened, she wouldn't give up on Rio, no matter the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, back home, the desperate fighter yearned to enter the next domain for Koyuki's cure. However, the system warned, this new domain demanded level 15, far beyond his current strength. Suddenly, Koyuki's soft groans from her room pulled Rio from his strategic thoughts. The grieving brother's heart pounded as he rushed to his sister, fear gripping him. To his horror, he found Koyuki spitting blood, her temporary relief alarmingly gone. The frail girl desperately tried to hide her relapse, not wanting to worry her brother. Rio's eyes widened in despair, witnessing Koyuki's fragile state, his worst fears confirmed. He vowed to level up relentlessly, gathering every antidote ingredient to restore her health. A moment later, Koyuki emerged, trying to act normal despite her lingering pain. The young warrior's heart ached as Koyuki casually asked for water, oblivious to his discovery. He forced a smile, asking about her health, hoping she hadn't noticed his terror. Koyuki offered a weak, reassuring smile, claiming she felt much better than before. Our hero nodded, feigning relief, but his mind raced with desperate urgency. He explained his imminent departure for a perilous domain, arranging for Koyuki's care. The young warrior clarified he generously paid for assistance, ensuring Koyuki would receive proper care. Koyuki promised to stay put, trying not to burden her brother with her growing weakness. The determined fighter knelt, reiterating his fierce hope for her recovery, asking her to stay strong. Koyuki, finding new strength, promised to recover, urging her brother to return safely. He offered to cook, trying to lighten the mood with a rare moment of domesticity. Suddenly, Rio's perception flared, an inexplicable surge of blue energy radiated around Koyuki. As Koyuki requested fried rice, a blinding blue aura enveloped her, shocking Rio. Koyuki, seeing her brother's stunned face, looked at him with innocent confusion. Phase 2 flow. Our hero quickly dismissed it as an illusion from overused skills, hiding his alarm about Koyuki. Meanwhile, in an opulent office, a high-ranking awakened concluded his report to the president. The president, intrigued, reflected on Rio's elemental, psychic, and C-class defying abilities. The aide continued, revealing Rio's new guild party registration for the Karam domain. The president, eyes narrowing, asked about Karam, a name that struck an ominous chord. He described Karam as a profoundly dangerous area, suffocating high-level awakened with its sinister aura. The president grinned darkly, eager to see if this enigmatic warrior would survive the perilous domain. 2 days later, a familiar warrior stood before the menacing portal to the infamous Karam domain. Our hero steeled himself, crucial antidote ingredients for Koyuki lay hidden within. A muscular awakened approached, questioning if Rio, the F-class, was joining their party. The young warrior calmly affirmed his identity, ready to face their scrutiny. The burly man scoffed, warning that this C-class domain would kill a cocky F-class. Undeterred, the determined fighter asserted his need to train, promising not to slow them down. The leader warned of no assistance, but Rio calmly accepted, vowing to protect himself. A gentle-faced woman, Yuna, apologized for the leader's harsh words, trying to ease the tension. The young warrior, unimpressed by the facade, dismissed the tough act with a knowing smile. Yuna introduced herself as a B-class healer, and Takudo, their B-class party leader, who grumbled. She then revealed their true objective, not to clear the domain, but to search for someone. Their experienced senior had vanished in the perilous domain a month ago, his fate unknown. Our hero realized the grim implications. Survival for an awakened was nearly impossible after so long. Yet, a week prior, a new message from the missing senior had offered a glimmer of hope. His chilling message, now echoing in Ryo's mind, simply stated, "Come find me in the Karam domain." The dangerous Karam domain loomed, Ryo and his new party stepping into its chilling embrace, hunting for Koyuki's cure. The desperate fighter worried, the system promised antidote ingredients, but what if he simply couldn't find them? The kind healer, Yuna, reminded everyone to stay close in the C-class domain. Ryo nodded, still lost in thought. Yuna then explained their leader could sense magic levels, revealing the domain's C-class difficulty, a rare skill. She continued, praising their experienced leader's ability to determine domain difficulty, guiding their dangerous expeditions. The keen observer, Ryo, then probed, sensing an odd presence around Karam domain, even before they fully entered. Yuna seemed unaware of any strangeness, but the young warrior dismissed his concern, preferring to keep his unique senses secret. Suddenly, Ryo's eyes snapped open, his heightened senses perceiving an immediate, unseen threat, his alarm evident. The party leader Takuto reacted instantly, shouting a warning, "Something's coming from the front left." From the shadows, savage mutated bears charged forward, their red eyes blazing with feral hunger. The burly warrior, Takuto, drew his massive sword, his command echoing, "Everyone, get ready." Unleashing fiery and magical attacks, the other awakened prepared for battle, their powers flaring with determination. One savage beast was engulfed in flames, roaring in pain as the party's combined assault began. Another mutated fiend was slammed by purple magic, showcasing the party's unexpected, synchronized strength. The relentless monsters continued their charge, closing the distance rapidly, barely fazed by the initial attacks. The kind healer Yuna joined the fray, a shimmering orb of protective energy forming in her hand, aiding her companions. The burly warrior leaped, his flaming sword poised for a devastating strike against a roaring mutated bear. His blazing blade cut deep, engulfing the savage beast in fire as it thrashed in agony, fighting for its life. The powerful warrior stood firm, his grim resolve evident, watching the wounded bear struggle. He swiftly followed up, delivering another powerful blow, further wounding the charging monster with his fiery attack. Ryo observed their seamless coordination, musing on the true power of a united party in a domain. A subtle smile touched Ryo's lips, he wondered if Lisa's future party would one day achieve such incredible synchronized strength. He recalled Lisa's fierce future form, an S-class warrior wreathed in blood-red power, the world's strongest. Ryo knew he couldn't reveal her future, but vowed to help her awaken, preventing her tragic, unknown death. Suddenly, his senses screamed, detecting an imminent threat that caused his eyes to widen in shock. Yuna, sensing danger, yelled a frantic warning for Ryo to watch his back, fearing an unseen attack. The determined hero quickly activated sensing control, blue energy swirling around his arm, bracing for impact. The burly warrior descended from above, his powerful blade slicing into the mutated bear, saving Ryo from its grasp. His blade plunged deep, spilling blood as the savage beast roared, finally defeated by the relentless B-class warrior. The enormous mutated bear collapsed, defeated, its reign of terror ending in a pool of its own blood. Phase 2 Flow ***. The young warrior felt a surge of elemental energy, realizing his companions had handled the threat before he even needed to act. The impatient fighter, Takuto, reprimanded Ryo for not engaging, warning him against holding the party back. His words grew harsh, an F-class shouldn't freeze during an attack, he stressed, implying Ryo's weakness. The burly warrior concluded, stating they shouldn't have brought someone as weak as Ryo along on this perilous mission. Yuna, however, observed Ryo more closely, realizing he had sensed the bear and moved for his weapon even before she called out. The kind healer now wondered if Ryo wasn't as weak as he appeared, a flicker of doubt in her perception. Suddenly, another wave of mutated beasts attacked, their red eyes glowing malevolently as the party sprang to action. These were larger, more terrifying creatures with multiple heads, charging through a fiery, thorny landscape. Yuna quickly approached Ryo, apologizing for the minor wounds he sustained earlier, then swiftly healed them with a touch. Ryo acknowledged Takuto's and the others' impressive speed in taking down monsters, but a suspicion gnawed at him, it felt too easy. Takuto voiced his own unease, a whole day had passed, yet they'd only encountered weak monsters, which wasn't C-class difficulty. He theorized that the missing senior's disappearance meant bigger threats were surely lurking, and urged everyone to stay sharp. Ryo still hadn't found the antidote ingredient, and the strange, ominous feeling from the start grew stronger, tightening his gut. The keen observer crouched by a river, noticing its unusually fast flow, a detail that immediately piqued his heightened senses. He dipped his hand into the turbulent water, sensing an unfamiliar, potent energy surging downstream. His eyes widened, a strange force pulsed from upstream. Could this be the antidote ingredient he desperately sought? But Takuto grabbed him roughly, pulling him away from the water, chastising him for wandering off. Ryo glared, demanding to be released, but the burly warrior maintained his grip, his frustration clear. Takuto's face contorted in shock, sensing a sudden, terrifying presence engulfing the domain. Yuna shrieked, her eyes wide with terror as she pointed to the sky, realizing a new danger had manifested. A dense, ominous fog suddenly rolled in, completely enveloping the domain, trapping the party in its chilling embrace. Trapped in the Karam domain, the dense, ominous fog drained the party's strength, obscuring all vision and confusing their senses. The burly leader, Takuto, realized his sensing skill had completely failed, leaving them vulnerable to unseen threats. Meanwhile, the desperate fighter, Ryo, focused his unique senses, feeling the magical energy of the antidote ingredients within the river. His eyes widened, our hero had found a trace, a glowing purple marker leading directly to the elusive cure. With a surge of renewed hope, the young warrior bolted towards the glowing sign, ignoring his confused companions. The enraged leader, Takuto, cursed his recklessness, demanding Ryo stop wandering off in such perilous conditions. He swiftly ordered everyone to follow closely, determined not to lose Ryo in the thick, disorienting mist. Then, without warning, the oppressive, strength-sapping fog mysteriously began to lift, revealing the domain's eerie landscape. The young warrior felt the strange magic he had sensed moments before vanish completely, raising his immediate suspicion. Takuto angrily warned Ryo that his previous antics wouldn't be tolerated, ready to reprimand his wandering. But the burly leader's gaze drifted, his expression shifting to surprise as he noticed a change in their surroundings. The entire party stared, bewildered, as the fog completely disappeared, revealing a cave entrance and a new path. The cautious healer, Yuna, gasped, her eyes wide with fear as she pointed to a chilling discovery on the ground. A bloodied sword lay abandoned on the grass, unmistakably belonging to their missing senior, deepening their dread. Takuto, clutching the bloodied sword, commanded the party to split and search, determined to find their veteran comrade. Phase 2 Flow. A faint voice echoed from within the dark cave, a desperate plea for help that stirred their hope. The burly leader and Ryo exchanged a glance. The missing senior was alive, trapped within the cavern. Inside, they found the veteran fighter, grievously wounded, covered in blood and barely clinging to life. Yuna rushed forward, her hands glowing with healing magic, promising immediate treatment for the injured senior. The young warrior, however, felt a deep unease, questioning how anyone could survive so long with such severe injuries. He remembered the magic he sensed moments earlier, now gone, wondering if it had vanished or was merely hidden. Suddenly, Ryo's senses flared. He perceived a vital clue, an inexplicable connection to the disappearing magic. He glanced towards the thorny, mutated plants nearby, feeling a strange energy emanating from them. The system's words clicked, when close to ingredients, he'd sensed them naturally. This was the antidote. Before them, a vibrant, glowing plant pulsated, stained with blood, its magical energy undeniable. The unique flower, partially bloomed and covered in blood, was clearly the missing antidote ingredient. Ryo's mind raced. Something had disrupted its blooming. He quickly deduced another cause for its state. He saw the flower had only one petal, incomplete, yet covered in a grotesque, non-human blood. A chilling realization struck the young warrior, this was not human blood, it belonged to a demonic beast. The injured senior, with a weak smile, claimed he knew they would find him, welcoming them to safety. Takuto immediately pressed the veteran, demanding an explanation for the horrific events within the domain. The senior, recognizing Ryo's F-class status, offered an ominous warning about the domain's cunning boss. He explained the boss was an unseen fiend, ambushing weakened prey, leaving him grievously wounded and fleeing here. The young warrior, his suspicions growing, asked if the domain boss had also been bleeding by any chance. The senior confirmed, boasting that even as a B-class, he had managed to inflict significant damage. Ryo's mind raced, connecting the dots, the blood on the flower must be the boss's, needed for its full bloom. A system notification confirmed his deduction, defeating the boss was the exact method to acquire the antidote ingredient. Takuto questioned why the senior returned to the domain alone after sending a message to them. Yuna insisted their senior's life was paramount, urging an immediate retreat for his recovery. But the injured senior refused, desperate to seize this chance to defeat the boss while it was wounded. The focused warrior, Ryo, felt a growing sense of dread, finding the senior's unwavering confidence unnerving. Takuto, swayed by the senior's resolve, declared they would face the boss together, ready for battle. The injured senior thanked them, accepting their aid with a grim, determined expression. Yuna, however, hesitated, questioning Ryo about his lack of enthusiasm to fight the boss. The perceptive healer recalled the senior's usual caution, how he'd always prioritize life and never rush a counterattack. Ryo noticed Yuna's apprehension, wondering if her instincts echoed his own growing suspicions. Yuna pointed to the bloodied sword, reminding Ryo how much the senior treasured it, never letting it out of his sight. Ryo's eyes widened in dawning horror, the veteran had not even tried to find his most cherished weapon. Yuna gasped, a chill running down her spine, realizing the senior's strange, uncharacteristic neglect of his sword. A sudden, terrifying presence enveloped Yuna. The senior's form shifted, his eyes burning with malevolent red light. With a forced, unsettling smile, Yuna dismissed her fear, claiming she merely thought of returning the sword. The injured senior, unaware of their revelation, simply took the sword, his face still contorted unnaturally. He condescendingly advised Ryo, an F-class, to stay quiet and follow during the upcoming boss encounter. Takuto, oblivious, pointed towards the southwest, urging everyone to quickly finish this dangerous mission. The young warrior, however, knew the truth, this wasn't the senior. This cunning impostor needed to be defeated. Deep within the ominous Karam domain, the fog thickened, trapping the search party in its suffocating grasp. Yuna, the gentle healer, felt a chilling unease, questioning the missing senior's strange connection to this place. Overwhelmed by the oppressive fog, Yuna stumbled, fear gripping her as the domain's insidious magic intensified. Takuto, ever vigilant, quickly caught the trembling healer, protecting her from the unseen dangers lurking in the mist. The stoic leader reassured Yuna, urging her to maintain her focus, they needed her healing for the challenges ahead. Yuna, shaken but resolute, reaffirmed their mission, defeat the domain's core and ensure everyone's safe return. She marveled at Ryo's unnerving calm, realizing he had guided them through the thick fog with uncanny precision. The healer directly questioned Ryo's F-class status, sensing an impossible depth of power beneath his calm demeanor. She mused that initial awakened assessments were often flawed, and Ryo's true strength might be concealed. The young warrior internally confirmed Yuna's keen perception, knowing she was close to discovering his hidden power. Nearby, the missing senior's party appeared, seemingly recovered and ready to assist in the perilous domain. Their leader praised the senior, calling him a natural talent who surpassed them, and expressed relief at his presence. Ryo observed their camaraderie, realizing this senior had once guided them through awakening's early, confusing days. Takuto had followed this senior since his awakening, viewing him as a master, despite the senior's preference for simple respect. Suddenly, the entire party emerged into an open, eerie clearing, sensing the domain boss was lurking nearby. The burly Takuto warned everyone to be cautious, wondering where the elusive domain boss could be hiding. Before another word, a desperate cry echoed, from above, as golden energy descended with blinding speed. A colossal, mutated hawk, wreathed in shimmering golden light, attacked with furious, sweeping wings. Takuto roared a warning, recognizing the immediate threat posed by the monstrous hawk's powerful wings. The giant fiend unleashed a devastating whirlwind, tearing through the air with destructive, golden force. The powerful vortex caught the unsuspecting party, sending them scattering, vulnerable to the hawk's rage. Our hero grimly noted the hawk's ability to stir whirlwinds, knowing it would be a troublesome, strategic opponent. Takuto cursed, realizing the winds prevented his allies from launching fire attacks, forcing a direct, risky confrontation. The burly leader barked orders, demanding Yuna strengthen his resolve to face the aerial threat head-on. Without hesitation, Yuna channeled her healing energy, creating a protective, shimmering blue aura around Takuto. Empowered, Takuto roared his assent, channeling fiery strength, ready to confront the monstrous hawk directly. The giant hawk swooped, creating another intense golden vortex, its eyes blazing with predatory hunger. Takuto charged into the maelstrom, clashing with the hawk's overwhelming power, as Ryo witnessed the brutal aerial combat. The hawk unleashed a blood-soaked fury, slashing at the brave Takuto, who struggled against the golden assault. Suddenly, a sinister purple energy erupted, striking Takuto and sending him sprawling, injured and vulnerable. From the purple mist, shadowy figures materialized, circling the dazed warrior with malevolent intent. Our hero grimly realized the hawk might be summoning more creatures, intending to pick them off one by one. Driven by relentless resolve, Ryo ignited his elemental blade, vowing to prevent any further attacks. With blinding speed, the young warrior parried a shadowy beast, unleashing his powerful blue energy in a fierce counterattack. Our hero spun, dispatching multiple shadowy fiends with a devastating, blue energy-fueled whirlwind of his own. Standing amidst the shattered illusions, Ryo channeled his immense power, his aura blazing with fierce determination. The system blazed to life, declaring a level up, proving the domain was far more complex than it appeared. But before he could process his newfound power, a new, enraged mutated beast, wreathed in purple, lunged from the shadows. Yuna shrieked in terror, her eyes wide with fear, as the monstrous fiend charged through the ominous purple fog. Inside the ominous Karam domain, a formidable mutated bear is utterly annihilated by a devastating blue energy blast. The powerful healer, Yuna, is startled by the sudden, brutal attack, blood splashing around her. The desperate fighter extends a reassuring hand to Yuna, who admits the shock briefly drained her strength. Yuna stares in awe at the fallen beast, realizing the young warrior dispatched the monster in a single, powerful hit. Our hero urges Yuna to rest, sensing no other immediate threats, but she worries for the missing senior. The young warrior, focused on his mission, casually dismisses her fears, affirming the others will be fine. Yuna, however, grows suspicious, wondering why the ominous fog doesn't affect the young warrior, or how he knows no monsters lurk nearby. Suddenly, a powerful force slams Takuto to the ground, disorienting the mighty warrior. Before he can recover, two savage mutated bears close in, eager to tear Takuto apart. Yuna cries out in desperation, wondering if anyone can save their fallen leader from the encroaching fiends. Then, blinding blue energy erupts, striking down the mutated bears in a rapid, brutal flurry of attacks. Takuto stares in bewilderment at the rapidly falling beasts, questioning how they were instantly wiped out. Still trapped in the dense fog, Yuna calls out for their leader, Takuto, disoriented and concerned. The desperate fighter stands alone in the purple haze, realizing a giant hawk-like beast likely watches, planning its ambush. Suddenly, a familiar shout pierces the dense fog, the young warrior recognizes Takuto's voice. Sensing immediate danger, our hero instantly turns, his instincts flaring as purple energy surges around him. The agile combatant realizes the formidable hawk-like fiend has now appeared, closing in on Takuto. Takuto stands defiantly amid the purple energy, already surrounded by the unseen enemy, his blade drawn. A colossal, fiery hawk-like shadow looms behind Takuto, revealing the monstrous foe's true, terrifying form. Distantly, Ryo shouts a desperate warning to Takuto to prepare for the ambush closing in from behind. The enormous hawk-like fiend lunges with blazing intensity, its fiery form searing through the dense fog. Yet, Takuto meets the attack with a confident, knowing smirk, ready to counter the aerial assault. The monstrous hawk-like creature slams down, but Takuto, glowing with physical enhancement, stands firm against the devastating impact. The young warrior, observing from afar, deduces Takuto intentionally lured the hawk, possessing incredible physical enhancement skills. Unleashing his full power, Takuto's blade crackles with devastating blue lightning, preparing a counterattack against the aerial predator. The empowered warrior strikes with a fierce, lightning-infused blow, directly confronting the towering hawk-like beast. With a roar of defiance, Takuto declares this fierce battle will be the monstrous fiend's final defeat. The hawk-like monster shrieks in agony as Takuto's devastating attack tears through its form, sending blood spraying. The immense fiend is mercilessly slammed by Takuto's final, crushing blow, sending it reeling through the air. But just as victory seems assured, our hero shouts Takuto's name, sensing an unsettling shift in the battle. Phase 2 Flow. The colossal hawk-like beast crashes down, defeated and bleeding profusely, its reign of terror seemingly over. Yet, a second, equally formidable hawk-like creature emerges from the fog, circling menacingly above the battered Takuto. The young warrior looks up in shock, realizing this new hawk plans to finish Takuto by dropping him from the sky. With furious resolve, our hero grips his glowing blade, preparing for a desperate, impossible rescue attempt. Suddenly, a colossal blade of energy slices through the fog, barely parried by the desperate fighter. Attacks flash around the airborne hawk and the falling Takuto, as both sides unleash desperate blows. As the fog unexpectedly clears, the desperate party members gasp, witnessing their leader carried off by the monstrous hawk. The agile combatant instantly shouts for ranged support, urging someone to unleash fire against the aerial threat. A party member, engulfed in blazing flames, prepares a powerful fire attack, ready to strike the monstrous fiend. A torrent of fire descends from the sky, engulfing the monstrous hawk in a searing inferno. The flaming hawk, struggling with Takuto in its grasp, is hit by the fiery onslaught, its grip faltering. Consequently, Takuto crashes violently to the ground, injured but freed from the monstrous creature's grasp. The flaming hawk-like beast then explodes in a blinding flash of light, utterly destroyed. The quick-thinking healer rushes to Takuto's side, promising immediate healing for his severe injuries. Yuna celebrates their victory, declaring the formidable hawk defeated, praising Takuto's incredible strength. The young warrior offers a subtle smile, relieved that everyone has survived this harrowing encounter. Internally, our hero muses that the hawk's blood will soon trigger the growth of a vital antidote ingredient. Suddenly, the desperate fighter's eyes snap open wide, sensing an unexpected and powerful new presence. He realizes with alarm that the long-missing senior has inexplicably appeared, defying all logical expectations. A sinister, fanged smile emerges from the shadows, revealing the chilling, corrupted form of the missing senior. Inside the chilling domain, the desperate fighter sensed something profoundly wrong with the energy core's stability. Far off, an insidious entity, the supposed senior, gloated over a newly absorbed crystal, proclaiming success. Meanwhile, our hero, Ryo, questioned why the domain's core didn't shatter and senses sharpened after leveling. He felt no cracks in the domain's barrier, yet an unsettling mystery lingered within the mist. His senses flared, focusing intently. The truth was far more sinister than imagined. He discovered another mutated flower, recognizing blood on it wasn't from the expected beast. The young warrior knelt, a chilling realization dawning on him about who had truly been there. Could that missing senior be responsible for this unsettling energy? His gaze sharpened. Suddenly, a violent purple energy surge pulsed, forcing our hero to shield his face instinctively. Fellow awakened, bewildered by the chaos, wondered what power unleashed such intense magical energy. They demanded answers from the senior, who was now surrounded by swirling, menacing purple energy. The transformed senior, a malevolent force, shrieked a warning for everyone to stay back. His former comrades watched in shock as the senior's power intensified, crackling with dark intent. Fear gripped the party, their faces contorted in disbelief and terror as the senior attacked. The rogue senior brutally impaled an unsuspecting awakened with a blade, blood splattering violently. He then ruthlessly flung another comrade into the air, consuming their essence with dark magic. Takuto, furious and bewildered, demanded what had gotten into their once trusted senior. The senior, now a vessel of pure evil, reveled in the pulsing, absorbed energy, utterly transformed. His new victims, writhing in agony, had their energy ruthlessly drained by the malevolent force. Takuto collapsed, paralyzed by the intense magical pressure, unable to even move. The ruthless executioner chided Takuto's inability to resist, questioning his respect for a senior. He then mocked Takuto, asking why he wasn't resisting the agonizing absorption of his life force. The struggling Takuto gasped for air, his throat seized by the dark, suffocating magic. The fiend, finding Takuto's suffering boring, decided to escalate the torment. Then you can die too, the monster declared, tightening its grip, preparing a killing blow. Suddenly, another awakened rushed forward, attempting a desperate, last-ditch attack. With blinding speed, a blue energy blast erupted, sending the unsuspecting assailant flying backward. The blue-clad awakened slammed his fist to the ground, unleashing a powerful shockwave against his assailant. Ryo observed the brutal assault, his eyes narrowed, sensing a deeper deceit. The blue-clad awakened, a master of deception, wondered how Ryo resisted his magical pressure. Phase 2 Flow. The trapped awakened questioned the senior's monstrous actions, utterly devastated by the betrayal. Ryo declared a shocking truth: this wasn't their senior at all, a terrifying impostor stood before them. The party recoiled, stunned and horrified, demanding who else could possibly wield such power. Ryo confirmed their worst fears, stating he should have realized the horrifying truth sooner. He deduced the blood on the first flower was the real senior's, not a beast's, confirming his suspicions. All the clues, the discarded weapon, sudden fog, and strange attacks, pointed to an impostor, not their comrade. Ryo theorized the entity before them must be the true boss of the treacherous Quran domain. The impostor cackled, dropping its facade, there was no point in hiding its true form any longer. Purple energy surged as the impostor transformed, revealing monstrous horns and claws. The fiend unveiled its true, demonic form, declaring it a more fitting appearance for its power. Ryo reeled, questioning why a humanoid monster appeared so early and remained undiscovered. The horrified party demanded to know the impostor's identity and the fate of their real senior. The demonic fiend sneered, gesturing to the real senior's unconscious, half-absorbed body, mocking them. It revealed it lost half its energy core after descending, blaming a hawk for the theft. Enraged, the demon stumbled upon the human senior, deciding to reclaim its power through him. A brutal battle ensued, but the monster easily defeated the senior, taking what it needed. The defeated senior lay lifeless, his chest ripped open, a chilling testament to the fiend's power. The demon planned to use the human as a living battery to reclaim its lost energy. Horrific energy pulsed, feeding the monstrous domain boss with the senior's diminishing life force. Through the eerie fog, the terrified party discovers the missing senior's bloodied skeletal remains. A wounded Takuto confesses he was lured here, contacting them to help confront a powerful entity. Takuto recounts how a mysterious hawk attacked him, confirming his desperate need for assistance. Suddenly, a monstrous demon appears, boasting it now commands the senior's fully intact energy core. Yuna and the other party member gasp in horror, realizing the senior had become this monstrous fiend. Enraged by the senior's tragic fate, Takuto vows immediate vengeance against the demon. The young warrior steps forward, instructing his party to evacuate Takuto, ready to fight alone. Yuna questions his impossible plan, but our hero confidently declares he will defeat the enemy. The hulking demon mocks the young warrior's big words and audacious challenge. Takuto, still reeling, questions how an F-class could possibly face such a formidable foe. The determined warrior stands firm, confirming he will face the demon completely alone. Yuna, sensing his resolve, instructs the other party member to help evacuate Takuto immediately. Takuto resists, desperately refusing to abandon the battle, despite their pleas. The sadistic demon merely scoffs at humanity's heroics, promising their inevitable massacre anyway. The agile combatant charges, his blade blazing with fierce blue energy, striking the demon head-on. The monstrous fiend recoils in absolute shock from the unexpected, devastating blow. Without missing a beat, our hero swiftly attacks again, landing a powerful strike to the demon's back. The determined warrior realizes his strength now far surpasses the level needed to defeat this domain boss. His power continues to surge, constantly leveling up, making him an unstoppable force. The elemental blade slices deep into the demon's flesh, drawing dark, corrupted blood. From behind a tree, the remaining party members watch the impossible battle unfold in disbelief. Takuto, stunned, acknowledges Ryo's skill far surpasses his own, making him unable to even draw his sword. The bleeding demon recoils, unable to comprehend such power from a supposed F-class awakened. It realizes the young warrior has been strategically hiding his terrifying, true strength all along. The demon, intrigued, finds Ryo interesting, preferring to savor his desperate struggles. Sensing a shift, our hero's eyes widen as the demon prepares to unleash a devastating new skill. The fiend erupts with pulsating purple energy, unleashing a terrifying, destructive sonic attack. Ryo braces himself for the overwhelming sonic force, preparing for the agonizing impact. Yuna and her companion desperately cover their ears, screaming in pain from the intense vibrations. The young warrior realizes this devastating sonic attack could destroy his internal organs, vowing to stop it. Phase 2 Flow. Golden energy explodes from our hero, signaling the activation of his formidable vine power. His hand glows with fierce golden energy, ready to ensnare the demonic entity. Blazing golden vines erupt from the ground, wrapping tightly around the monstrous demon. The captured demon expresses disbelief, shocked by Ryo's unexpected would-control ability. Takuto, watching in awe, realizes how close they were to being caught in the demon's attack. The demon boasts the vines won't hold him, struggling violently against the golden restraints. It vanishes from the vines, but the agile combatant knew he only needed a moment to gain an advantage. The young warrior retaliates, striking the fleeting demon with a furious burst of golden energy. The enraged demon cries out in pain, further infuriated by Ryo's relentless counterattacks. Its body swirls with dark purple energy, as the monstrous fiend vows to unleash its full power. The demon morphs into a winged form, laughing as it unleashes a torrent of malevolent purple energy. Our hero realizes the demon has once again grown immensely stronger, escalating the already dire fight. Channeling fierce blue energy, Ryo refuses to let the transformed fiend roam free. The young warrior launches himself at the flying demon, determined to stop its rampage. Ryo gathers his full power, his eyes blazing with resolve for the impending clash. He lands a piercing strike against the demon, his blade erupting with destructive purple energy. Yuna and her companion watch in sheer horror, fearing the outcome of this escalating battle. Blood dripping from his mouth, the defiant warrior declares the fight far from over. The young hero senses a strange, burning sensation, wondering if the demon coated its blade in poison. An unseen force violently strikes Ryo, further injuring the bleeding warrior. The demon gloats, promising a slow, agonizing death after Ryo cowering in complete despair. The monstrous fiend mercilessly slams the young warrior again, relishing his pain and defiance. The demonic beast, cloaked in purple energy, flung the young warrior high into the air, gloating about his inevitable, painful demise. Ryo, bloodied but unyielding, knew the demon believed his fall would be a spectacle, his bones shattering upon impact. With a cruel flick of its claw, the monstrous fiend sent the battered hero plummeting towards the forest floor below. Yuna and Takuto watched in horror from below, realizing the young warrior would surely die from such a devastating fall. The crashing impact sent shockwaves through the forest, a terrifying declaration of the demon's brutal dominance. One of Ryo's shaken companions gasped, believing the battle, and Ryo's life, were tragically over. The sadistic monstrosity reveled in its victory, proclaiming Earth would soon become a living hell for all of humanity. Even amidst the pain, the battered hero wondered if the demonic beast knew a way to escape this treacherous domain. Instantly, golden energy erupted around the fallen warrior, instinctively drawing vitality from the surrounding trees. Blood still staining his lips, the desperate fighter realized the demon's attack had inadvertently placed him perfectly for healing. Golden light enveloped the young warrior, his wounds rapidly closing as vitality surged from the forest's core. The agile combatant rose, his breath steady, miraculous golden energy swirling around him, defying death itself. The demonic beast, still hovering, sensed an anomaly, its grotesque face contorting in confusion. What was happening? The looming fiend had just struck a killing blow, yet the warrior still stood, stronger than before. The monstrous demon noticed the withered trees around Ryo, wondering if his fallen body had released a strange poison. Suddenly, the demon screamed in shock as Ryo unleashed a powerful golden energy spear, catching it completely off guard. The desperate fighter closed the distance in a blinding flash, striking the demon with his blade, a fierce blue energy surging. The demon recoiled, its eyes wide with disbelief, questioning how the young warrior had recovered so swiftly. Ryo attempted his psychic attack, but the system declared it failed, the demon's psychic defense was too potent. The overwhelming psychic energy shattered, forcing the young warrior to reconsider his strategy against such a resilient foe. The demon advanced, its massive sword ready to strike, while the agile combatant prepared for a new assault. The cunning warrior knew his psychic attack was his last resort, but first, he needed to induce utter panic in the fiend. The monstrous demon mocked the hero, vowing to cut off his head, confident in its superior strength. The young warrior's eyes widened, a new, unsettling realization dawning upon him about the demon's true nature. A subtle, knowing smile touched the desperate fighter's lips, he had found the demon's critical weakness. The demon, perplexed by the warrior's sudden grin, demanded to know why he found humor in this dire situation. Ryo countered, questioning the demon's certainty that the stolen energy core's power truly belonged to it. The young warrior revealed his chilling insight, the absorbed magic was raging within the fiend, desperate to escape. The enraged demon dismissed Ryo's words as nonsense, but the agile combatant urged it to test his claims. With renewed resolve, the cunning hero prepared to unleash his psychic attack once more, but with a refined approach. The demonic beast paused, its confidence wavering as Ryo's words gnawed at its stolen power. Suddenly, the demonic form shimmered, its massive body beginning to melt into swirling purple energy. The demon roared in agony, its stolen magic leaking out as its form violently shifted, horrified by the reversion. The monstrous fiend shrieked in terror and confusion, reverting to the missing senior's human form. The young warrior emerged from the swirling mists, effortlessly finding the now human-formed demon. The transformed senior, trapped in a nightmare, desperately questioned why his body refused to respond to his will. The demonic essence still clinging to him, the senior screamed for Ryo to keep away, utterly terrified and helpless. The transformed senior faced Ryo, his eyes wide with horror as the last vestiges of demonic control slipped away. Pure, unadulterated terror seized the shattered soul, knowing his demonic transformation was truly over. The senior writhed in torment, spitting dark blood as the last demonic energy was violently expelled from his body. The determined warrior advanced, striking the flailing senior with precision, driving the last of the corruption out. With a final, powerful strike, Ryo cleansed the senior of the remaining demonic influence, completing his liberation. The defeated senior, now human, collapsed, unable to comprehend his loss, or what he had become. Standing over the broken senior, the young warrior pressed for answers. How could demons escape this domain? The senior, barely conscious, whispered of a door and humanity's impending doom when it opened. The hero's expression hardened, realizing this door was the key to understanding the future apocalypse. The senior gasped, recognizing Ryo's focus, and offered a chilling hint about the door's elusive location. The young warrior pressed on, demanding the demon reveal the precise location of its hidden power. The fiend, caught off guard, questioned how a mere human could possess such terrifying insight. Without mercy, Ryo pressed his brutal attack, slamming the corrupted monster into the blood-soaked ground. Our hero, his face a mask of grim determination, simply cut off the demon's protest. The demonic beast lay defeated and bleeding, its malevolent aura rapidly fading into the ethereal mist. As the demon's eye glazed over, faint blue particles shimmered, hinting at a hidden release. Then, from the very spot the monster lay, a glowing pink lotus flower miraculously bloomed. The agile combatant reached out, his eyes wide with desperate hope, realizing this was the coveted antidote ingredient. The system confirmed his triumph. The first of 6 antidote ingredients, also acting as a crucial pain reliever, was secured. Ryo absorbed the news of multiple ingredients, but his relief at securing immediate pain relief for Koyuki was palpable. Unexpectedly, a faint voice escaped the dying fiend's lips, calling Ryo's name with shocking clarity. Ryo knelt, as the monster's fading form uttered, "I'm finally free. Thank you." A tormented soul released. Our hero's mind reeled, the demon's very essence had shifted, a familiar presence emerging from the darkness. A wave of grim recognition washed over him, the tormented soul trapped within was the missing senior. The transformed senior spoke of hope, believing Ryo was humanity's last, true awakened protector. The grieving warrior, honoring the dying man, solemnly offered to listen to his final words. The senior, finding peace, declared he fought with all his power to protect his comrades, regretting nothing. With that, the brave senior passed, and the system blazed with triumph, monster defeated. Level up. As golden energy swirled where the demon once lay, Ryo felt his power surge dramatically. The system revealed his spoils, a golden energy stone and an otherworldly longsword, boosting his attributes. A massive breakthrough, complete immunity unlocked. No longer fearing toxins, his level soared to an astonishing 25. The young warrior mused on his new, water manipulation, skill, wondering about future elemental mastery. Testing his newfound ability, Ryo channeled shimmering blue water energy through an ancient tree. His hand glowed, imbued with liquid power, proving his mastery over water had now begun. The determined combatant resolved to keep leveling up, knowing advanced powers awaited beyond beginner's touch. Suddenly, Takuto's urgent shout pierced the calm, drawing Ryo's attention. Yuna, with the party, rushed forward, frantically offering to heal Ryo's wounds from the brutal fight. Her eyes widened in disbelief, she registered no injury, only Ryo's calm demeanor. The agile combatant stood perfectly unharmed, looking stronger than before, astonishing his party members. Behind them, the grotesque silhouette of the defeated demon now lay utterly annihilated, a chilling reminder. Phase 2 Flow. Takuto gazed at the senior's dissipated form, his face etched with profound grief and regret for failing to save him. Ryo, with somber clarity, explained that the senior had briefly regained consciousness before his final release. The senior's last message to Takuto was filled with understanding, affirming that nobody is perfect. Tears streamed down Takuto's face, mourning the tragic loss of his respected senior. Overwhelmed by sorrow, Takuto cried out in anguish, while the other party members recoiled in shock. Later, bathed in sunlight, Takuto approached Ryo, humbly apologizing for underestimating his power. Ryo graciously accepted the apology, surprised by Takuto's unexpected honesty. Takuto resolved to train harder and offered Ryo an open invitation to join their future party. The young warrior waved goodbye as the party departed, their mission tragically complete. Yuna, perplexed, questioned Takuto about Ryo's F-class rank and his extraordinary, hidden skills. Takuto, now calm, insisted Ryo had his reasons, and they owed him secrecy for saving their lives. Yuna, convinced, agreed to keep Ryo's incredible abilities a guarded secret. Finally home, the weary warrior entered his apartment, his mind already set on his next goal. He checked on Koyuki, finding her peacefully sleeping, momentarily easing his burdened heart. Ryo frantically searched for new domains, specifically the one holding the ultimate cure's key ingredients. He grimly realized the crucial domain hadn't appeared yet, its door still hidden from even monsters. He recalled the apocalyptic door, a terrifying, red swirling vortex unleashing black miasma over cities. Even a powerful S-class awakened had perished attempting to conquer that ultimate, horrifying domain. Bearing this secret knowledge, Rio questioned if he could truly face such an impossible challenge alone. Humanity faced extinction, and the immense burden of changing this grim future rested solely on his shoulders. Suddenly, Koyuki's soft voice broke his thoughts, "Big brother." She was awake. Koyuki smiled, asking to go for a walk, her face radiating a momentary, deceptive picture of recovery. Our young warrior, Rio, pushes his sister Koyuki, feeling energized by the temporary painkiller, through a sunny park. For the first time in ages, the shattered soul sees his sister smile, happy to be out after being bedridden. Rio vows to take her on more walks, savoring this fragile moment of normalcy and joy. Suddenly, Koyuki's eyes widen, sensing something amiss, her temporary peace disturbed by an unseen threat. In the distance, a swirling blue domain portal looms, a chilling reminder of the world's encroaching dangers. Koyuki points to the ominous domain, but Rio dismisses it, trying to reassure her of their safety. Yet, Koyuki reveals recurring nightmares, domains expanding, monsters pouring out, plunging the world into living hell. Her words echo Rio's own terrifying future memories, confirming her nascent connection to the unfolding catastrophe. The grieving brother promises to stay by her side, vowing to find a permanent cure for her domain poison. Koyuki questions the point of a cure if the world itself ends, her innocent words striking a terrible truth in Rio. The young warrior realizes his singular focus on Koyuki's cure is futile, he must prevent the apocalypse itself. Koyuki asks if preventing the world's end is even possible, suggesting it's a task for S-class awakened. Her innocent faith insists that even ordinary people can contribute, sparking a fierce resolve within her brother. Rio looks away, a grim determination setting in as he acknowledges her profound words. Suddenly, Rio is pulled into a dark, ethereal space, recalling a brutal future battle where he fought to protect his comrades. The young warrior is consumed by guilt, lamenting his past foolishness and failure to protect those he loved. Disoriented, Rio questions his surroundings, finding himself adrift in the system's isolated, digital realm. The system confirms his location, demanding Rio reaffirm his commitment to change history and save the Earth. It reveals a crucial antidote ingredient lies within the domain where his past life monsters appeared, he must conquer it. Rio erupts in frustration, angry the system hid this vital information, but it dismisses his anger as childish. The desperate fighter fumes, wanting to punch the all-powerful system but acknowledging its invincibility. Back in the park, Koyuki pulls Rio from his trance, asking why he's zoning out from their conversation. Rio quickly composes himself, offering a reassuring smile and suggesting they continue their walk. But his eyes betray his true thoughts, a newfound resolve, sharpened by the system's latest revelation. His enhanced senses flare, Rio detects multiple awakened approaching them rapidly, growing concerned. Consequently, the young warrior abruptly decides they must head home, his composure now strained. Koyuki smiles, happy to comply, looking forward to watching her favorite TV show together. Rio agrees to watch, surprising Koyuki, who reminds him he never liked her show before. Her innocent question makes Rio pause, a brief moment of internal conflict at his changed demeanor. Unbeknownst to them, a high-ranking official and his team track their location, wondering why their target isn't there. Phase 2 Flow. The guild official dismisses the possibility of being detected, confident in their advanced surveillance, mocking Rio's abilities. Later that evening, Koyuki sleeps peacefully, but Rio watches her, knowing the painkiller's effect is temporary. Her body weakens daily, Rio recalls that domain will open in 6 months, unleashing apocalypse. He realizes the crushing timeline, 6 months to find the cure and prevent the world's destruction. With limited time, the young warrior vows to get stronger, much stronger, his eyes burning with fierce determination. His resolve hardens, Rio clenches his fist, ready to confront the relentless tide of fate. Suddenly, Rio senses an intrusion, uninvited guests have arrived at their home, shattering his concentration. He confronts a group of grim-faced men at his door, demanding to know their intentions. Rio recognizes the purple-haired director from the park, accusing him of following them home. The director is stunned, Rio's heightened senses are far beyond anything he anticipated, detecting them easily. Introducing himself as Kosakayo, director of the Tawa Guild, he states the guild president wishes to meet Rio. Rio's eyes narrow, the Tawa Guild, a powerful and influential organization, has come for him. The determined warrior coldly refuses their invitation, ordering them to leave his premises immediately. Kosaka warns that if Ryo resists, they will resort to less polite methods, his men glowing with sinister purple energy. Ryo's body flares with intense blue energy, preparing to defend his home against the encroaching threat. Kosaka, sensing Ryo's power, warns that a clash here would endanger others, hinting at Koyuki. Ryo glances at his sleeping sister, the weight of her safety forcing his immediate, painful compromise. Fine, Ryo concedes reluctantly, prioritizing Koyuki's safety above all else, his defiance momentarily subdued. Kosaka smirks, deeming it a wise decision, then gestures for Ryo to follow, their forced alliance now set. Moments later, Ryo is led into an opulent room, where the director announces his arrival to the president. The young warrior stands defiant, facing the unknown power structure that now seeks to control him. The president, a formidable figure, finally greets Ryo, a chilling smile playing on his lips as their confrontation begins. The powerful president of the Tawa Guild formally introduced himself, a figure Ryo knew to be a future tyrant. Ryo's instincts screamed caution, this man exuded an unsettling, formidable aura of raw power. The president, a menacing presence, casually confirmed Ryo's assessment, noting his own C-class strength. He boasted of the Tawa Guild's swift rise, focused solely on maximizing profit and exploiting awakened ones. The cunning president offered Ryo a tempting vision, unlimited wealth and power for those who cleared domains. He then stressed the necessity of a guild for large-scale operations, urging Ryo to join and unleash his skills. Ryo's mind raced, recalling the Tawa Guild's infamous name even in his apocalyptic past life. He remembered their ruthless tactics, plundering, invasion, and mercilessly eliminating anyone who caught their eye. His memory conjured images of ambushes, with loyal awakened murdered for their power or defiance. In that desolate future, the Tawa Guild was feared more than the monsters themselves, a chilling truth. The grieving brother replayed the mass killings committed by the guild as the world crumbled around them. Yet, the guild's higher-ups luxuriated in opulence, indifferent to the suffering they caused. Snapped back to the present, Ryo blinked, the president's voice cutting through his grim reflections. Ryo swiftly apologized for his distraction, directly asking why the formidable president had summoned him. The president's chilling smile widened, he praised Ryo's Karam domain victory and sought details about the boss. The young warrior knew he couldn't fight the entire guild yet, his true strength and goal were far too critical. Feigning weakness, Ryo claimed he was useless, just an F-class, and luck alone helped him survive Karam. He lied about the demon's winged form, pretending he was too scared to remember crucial details. The president, unfazed by Ryo's deception, merely chuckled, finding the young warrior's story amusing. A hint of mockery laced his tone as he noted Ryo's deliberate lack of trust in their exchange. Suddenly, the door opened, and Yuna, Ryo's former party member, nervously entered the room. Ryo's eyes widened in stunned recognition, he couldn't believe Yuna was here with the Tawa Guild. The president confirmed Yuna had recounted Ryo's impossible solo defeat of the Karam domain boss. The young warrior, hiding his shock, coolly asked if Takuto knew of Yuna's new allegiance. The president smugly revealed Yuna had already abandoned Takuto's party to become a Tawa Guild healer. He explained their initial intent to recruit the stubborn Takuto, but he refused their powerful influence. Yet, Yuna, deemed a very smart girl, wisely chose her own path, joining their ranks instead. The president's gaze bore into Ryo, implicitly warning him to make the best choice for his own future. Ryo remained silent, his expression unreadable, calculating his next move against their manipulation. He doubled down, insisting his victory was pure luck, entirely dependent on B-class Takuto's help. Phase 2 Flow. The young warrior reinforced his facade, declaring he was merely an F-class without grand ambitions. The president's unsettling smile remained, a subtle glint in his eyes betraying his thoughts. Yuna inwardly questioned Ryo's refusal, realizing joining the Tawa Guild was a rare chance for safety. The president, feigning understanding, graciously offered Ryo a ride home in their guild car. Ryo, maintaining his composure, simply thanked the manipulative president for the offer. As the agile combatant walked towards the door, the president called out, seemingly offering a final word. He reiterated Ryo was welcome to join anytime, a subtle warning veiled as an open invitation. Ryo thought the president gave up too easily, dismissing his feigned ruthlessness. He wondered if the president was less ruthless now than in his terrifying past life, a flicker of doubt. In any case, Ryo decided, staying vigilant against the Tawa Guild was his only viable option going forward. Back in the room, Yuna questioned the president, worried about letting Ryo slip away so easily. The president, with a sinister smirk, revealed his chilling strategy: exploit Ryo's younger sister. Kosakayo, now tasked with the grim mission, confirmed he would speak to Ryo again. The next day at the black market, Ryo wondered if the Tawa Guild had truly abandoned their pursuit. He urgently needed a communication device for Koyuki, constantly worried about her safety alone in domains. A dealer informed a customer that a rare communication item was already sold, its buyer confidential. Suddenly, Ryo heard a familiar voice. It was Yuna, now wearing a stylish Tawa Guild uniform. Yuna, with a bright smile, asked Ryo why he was there, unaware of his grim resolve. Ryo encounters Yuna at the black market, who claims she needed to buy something, just like him. Yuna, now wearing a Tawa Guild uniform, seems innocent, but Ryo remains deeply suspicious of her presence here. The young warrior subtly observes her, his true feelings hidden behind a calm, reassuring smile. A vendor, misunderstanding their interaction, warns them not to flirt and disrupt his market business. Both Ryo and Yuna quickly deny flirting, insisting they are merely friends, much to the vendor's amusement. The dealer then reveals Yuna bought the rare communication device Ryo was seeking, catching him off guard. He dismisses them to resolve the matter themselves, abandoning his market stall as Ryo considers his next move. Yuna expresses surprise at Ryo's interest in the device, asking if it's for someone important to him. The young warrior admits his worry for Koyuki when he's in domains, confirming his sister's critical importance. He reiterates Koyuki is his top priority, then insists on buying the communication device at any price. Yuna, surprisingly, agrees to give Ryo the communication bracelets for free, offering them as a gesture. Our hero accepts, realizing the device consumes considerable magical energy for its activation. Ryo then asks if Yuna can sense the energy drain, but she responds blankly, unable to perceive it. He questions whether her level or his superior perception skill enables him to detect the magical energy. The grateful warrior offers to pay double, but Yuna insists on it being a gift, refusing any payment. Ryo protests, arguing it's unfair since she bought it for personal use, creating an awkward exchange. Yuna confesses she acquired it to convey her last words if she died in a domain, a grim revelation. The young warrior stands stunned, reflecting on her vulnerability and the harsh realities of domain exploration. She explains that with good companions, she wouldn't know who to give it to, so Ryo should keep it. Ryo still feels conflicted accepting such an expensive item for free, but Yuna presses him to accept it as a favor. Confused by her sudden generosity and request, the young warrior queries what favor she means. Later, Koyuki fastens the communication bracelet, completing the crucial connection with her brother. She asks if they can now communicate across domains, and Ryo confirms, but with limited uses. The grieving brother smiles, feeling their magical energies connect, ensuring he can reach her from any domain. However, Ryo notes the device's magical energy is finite, limiting communication to only critical situations. He instructs Koyuki to wear it constantly, promising to respond swiftly if she ever needs his help. Koyuki playfully teases him, calling him an overly protective parent, pinching his cheeks in affection. He reminds her to sleep, as he's leaving for a domain soon, then Koyuki observes his changed demeanor. Koyuki notes his old self looked hopeless before domains, but now he seems surprisingly eager for the challenge. Ryo attributes his newfound enthusiasm to a friend, but Koyuki instantly teases him about Lisa. Phase 2 Flow. Ryo, flustered, vehemently denies any romantic involvement, insisting Lisa is just a friend. Koyuki then teases him about fighting alongside someone, naturally reducing the distance between them, implying deeper bonds. She suggests shared hardship inevitably leads to falling in love, further embarrassing her brother. The mischievous sister concludes they will naturally end up together, much to Ryo's mortification. He chides her for reading too much manga, while Koyuki points out his own hidden book. Ryo quickly sends her to bed, deflecting her question about making Lisa fall for him, uncertain himself. The next morning, Ryo bids farewell, and Koyuki reminds him he's repeated his safety instructions countless times. With a mischievous grin, Koyuki urges him to make a good impression on Lisa, fueling his embarrassment. Ryo reiterates Lisa is just a friend, his face flushed with irritation from his sister's teasing. The grieving brother finally departs for the domain, with Koyuki wishing him good luck. Ryo reflects on solving everything and being able to contact Koyuki, feeling a brief sense of security. He walks away, determined to focus intensely on leveling up within the dangerous domain. Suddenly, Lisa's voice calls out, waving enthusiastically with Takuto and Yuna, ready for their domain journey. Lisa confesses her confidence in Rio, recalling how his cheering motivated her during their last struggle. She credits Rio for helping her endure past challenges, revealing her deep trust and admiration. The young warrior is momentarily stunned by her heartfelt words, sensing a shift in their connection. He recalls a tender moment, a shared hug, hinting at a deeper emotional bond between them. Flustered, Rio denies being red-faced, insisting they hurry, trying to hide his inner turmoil. Meanwhile, a sleek black car pulls up to Rio's house, carrying ominous figures. Kosaka Yo confirms Rio's sister is infected, suggesting the president wait in the car, but he refuses. The sinister president, smoking a cigar, declares he won't miss this excitement, promising a funny game for Rio's return. Inside the frigid, snow-covered domain, new allies Jen, Akina, and Sho introduce themselves, excited to meet the young warrior. Lisa grew flustered as the new teammates casually revealed her eagerness to conquer domains alongside Rio. The party noted the unusual cold, joking about needing warmer gear for the unexpected, icy landscape. Lisa, ever pragmatic, explained they must preserve heat through exertion while relentlessly hunting the domain's boss. Her new teammates, Jen, Akina, and Sho, expressed deep trust in their leader, reaffirming their loyalty. The young warrior observed the party's diverse ranks, noting their genuine respect for Lisa, a stark contrast. He inwardly acknowledged Lisa's incredible skill, forming such a capable team so quickly for this perilous domain. Lisa, showing care, offered a concentrated heat source to Rio, concerned he might be shivering. The determined fighter gently declined, insisting Lisa keep it, feigning warmth despite the biting chill. Lisa playfully nudged him, pointing out his reddening nose, clearly seeing through his tough facade. A playful tussle ensued as Rio tried to push the warming crystal back, insisting Lisa needed it. Suddenly, Rio flinched, realizing his hand accidentally grazed Lisa's nose, causing a brief, awkward moment. He quickly apologized for the contact, while Lisa, initially surprised, quickly brushed it off. Jen and Akina observed their leader's interaction with knowing smiles, teasing Lisa about Rio's thoughtfulness. Lisa, embarrassed by their teasing, quickly snapped at her teammates to focus on the dangerous domain. Suddenly, the leader Takuto's eyes sharpened, sensing an immediate threat approaching through the snowy landscape. From the swirling snow, a horde of ferocious, red-eyed mutated monkeys emerged, their primal roars echoing. Sho and Akina identified the wild monkeys, preparing for the imminent confrontation against the charging beasts. Lisa, taking command, barked orders for the party to brace themselves and prepare for the incoming attack. The ground trembled as the monstrous creatures charged, their feral eyes fixed on Rio's vulnerable party. Akina swiftly drew her bow, notching a glowing purple arrow, ready to unleash a precise, powerful attack. With a focused shot, purple energy bolts erupted, striking a monkey and sending it reeling with a pained shriek. Simultaneously, Sho dashed forward, dual daggers glowing with vibrant energy, declaring himself the monkey's opponent. Moments later, several mutated monkeys lay dismembered in the snow, leaving pools of dark, fresh blood. Lisa unleashed a fiery torrent, her sword enveloped in golden flames, incinerating another beast with raw power. Her devastating strike cleaved through a towering tree trunk, creating a shockwave of fiery and electrical energy. The young warrior moved like a blur, an elemental blade of blue energy cutting through a charging monkey. Rio effortlessly dispatched the remaining mutated monkeys, leaving a trail of fallen foes in his wake. In mere moments, the entire pack of mutated monkeys lay motionless, utterly defeated across the icy ground. Sho praised Rio's incredible speed, acknowledging why Lisa spoke so highly of the skilled young warrior. Phase 2 Flow. The young warrior, however, felt a pang of frustration. The system remained silent, indicating no level up from such weak foes. He realized he needed higher-class domains for significant growth and questioned why the others avoided them. Akina explained their cautious approach, prioritizing safe returns and thorough investigations over reckless high-risk ventures. Lisa affirmed their strategy, stressing the paramount importance of everyone returning home safely from each perilous domain. Akina affectionately embraced Lisa, recognizing her genuine care for the team's well-being and safety. The young warrior observed their bond, a subtle smile touching his lips, acknowledging Lisa's true leadership. Suddenly, the agile combatant sensed a strange energy, his gaze fixed on a distant, ominous disturbance. He spotted a strange, broken wall, emitting a faint, pulsating blue light, drawing his keen attention. The young warrior, his instincts guiding him, declared that this shortcut offered a more convenient route. Lisa, sensing his unusual determination, hesitated, a slight concern etched on her face. Takuto and Akina, however, were fully on board, eagerly anticipating the confrontation with the domain's boss. Following the path, they discovered a monstrous being carved entirely from ice, an imposing figure of frozen power. The colossal ice golem stood before them, its icy form radiating an overwhelming, frigid aura. The party gasped. The sudden appearance of the ice boss was swift, its glacial presence chilling the area. The ice golem's eye glowed with malevolent blue energy, its massive form beginning to stir. Takuto immediately rushed forward, attempting to shatter the icy barrier protecting the formidable boss. He exerted all his strength, but the barrier held firm. Takuto couldn't even make a dent. Lisa, realizing their predicament, urged a tactical retreat to devise a safer, more effective plan. But Ryo, perched on a frozen branch above, declared retreat unnecessary, his eyes burning with renewed resolve. The desperate fighter leaped down, a surge of power radiating from him, ready to confront the ice monster head-on. The young warrior landed directly atop the colossal ice golem, asserting his dominance over the frigid beast. Without hesitation, Ryo unleashed a powerful blue energy attack, slamming his fist down to shatter the ice monster. The colossal ice golem screamed in agony as the young warrior's devastating blow shattered its icy form. Shards of raw power exploded outwards, forcing the bewildered party to shield themselves from the devastating impact. Akina gasped, pointing skyward as the incredible scale of Ryo's victory became fully apparent to them all. Standing atop the colossal remains, the agile combatant radiated power, his elemental blade glowing with triumphant blue energy. Lisa and the team watched in stunned awe, realizing Ryo had single-handedly obliterated a formidable C-class domain boss. The confident warrior smiled, acknowledging his strength and the sheer power he now wielded after his relentless training. Suddenly, the system announced his triumph: "You've leveled up." A confirmation of his relentless pursuit of higher challenges. His jubilant teammates rushed towards him, celebrating their hard-won victory in the frigid, snow-covered domain. Lisa's eyes sparkled with admiration as she praised the heroic warrior, eager to hear his thoughts on the exhilarating battle. The young warrior, emboldened, confidently proposed their next challenge, a treacherous B-class domain, much to his party's excitement. Lisa, unwavering, declared that with Ryo by their side, even a B-class domain held no fear for her. She agreed, but insisted on strategic planning first, as her thrilled teammates cheered, ready for the next perilous adventure. Miles away, a sinister knock echoed through Ryo's quiet home, shattering the fragile peace of the unsuspecting evening. Koyuki, frail and vulnerable in her bed, looked up, her innocent face etched with a sudden, unsettling alarm. Outside, sinister men claiming to be a security company demanded entry, their true, menacing intent thinly veiled. The perceptive young sister instantly knew they were lying. Real security would never arrive at such an hour. A blinding blue flash erupted, tearing through the apartment as the ruthless intruders forcefully breached their home. Koyuki was hurled across the room, blood streaming from her mouth, her already weakened body brutally assaulted. Kosaka Yo and his grim-faced enforcers stepped over her, asserting they needed no pretense for their invasion. The shattered soul lay on the floor, coughing torrents of blood, her condition rapidly worsening under their brutal attack. The men identified her, a mere pawn, as the grieving brother's sister, a chilling confirmation of their target. The president, with a sadistic smirk, remarked on Ryo's protectiveness, noting Koyuki's cute vulnerability. He mused how Ryo would react if his beloved sister suddenly vanished, a sinister plot unfolding. A heavy boot mercilessly stomped Koyuki's delicate arm, eliciting a blood-curdling scream of pure agony. The president sneered at Ryo's communication bracelet, declaring such a simple device was utterly meaningless against his power. He twisted his foot, crushing her arm further, as Koyuki thrashed in excruciating pain, her cries unheard by her brother. The magical communication bracelet lay shattered on the tiled floor, its fragments scattered, its fragile link severed. Reaching out weakly, the helpless young sister whispered her brother's name, a desperate plea echoing in the silent room. The merciless president, feigning mercy, instructed his henchmen to gather the broken pieces with her. The terrified sister was roughly hauled to her feet, blood dripping from her lips, dragged away by the ruthless enforcers. Phase 2 Flow. Kosaka Yo leaned in, cruelly blaming everything on her absent brother, twisting the knife of her fear. The president watched, a flicker of surprise crossing his face at the young girl's sudden defiance. Despite her agonizing injuries and the dark blue aura engulfing her, Koyuki defiantly vowed her brother would come. The president merely laughed, a chilling sound filling the room, mocking her desperate hope for rescue. He ordered her taken away, confident the shattered bracelet ensured Rio would never find his abducted sister. The ruthless president smiled, eagerly anticipating Rio's face of utter despair and hopelessness when he returned. Back in the frigid domain, Akina marveled at her newly acquired ice arrow, its freezing effect a powerful asset. Another teammate lamented his lack of suitable new weapons, feeling left behind by the recent battle's spoils. The party teased Rio about the next B-class domain, praising his strength and eagerness for the challenge. Lisa then offered Rio a radiant blue crystal, a reward from the defeated golem, urging him to accept it. But the kind warrior refused, insisting the powerful crystal was something her unique skills truly needed. His teammates cheered, touched by his generosity and unwavering support for their combined strength. Suddenly, Lisa noticed a profound change in Rio, his joyful expression replaced by a disturbing unease. The young warrior clutched his bracelet, a chilling premonition gripping him as the connection felt wrong. His eyes widened in horror, the vibrant magical energy connecting him to Koyuki had completely vanished. He desperately realized the link was broken, his worst fears confirming something terrible had happened to Koyuki. His face contorted with pure dread, the grieving brother bolted from the domain, screaming Koyuki's name. His confused party members shouted after him, stunned by his sudden, desperate flight from their triumphant mission. Rio burst into his apartment, a bloody mess confirming his deepest fears, frantically searching for Koyuki. "Koyuki! Your big brother's back," he screamed, his voice laced with terror as he searched the empty rooms. He snatched his phone, his heart pounding, a horrifying new message waiting to be revealed. The young warrior stared at his screen, a chilling image of his bound sister, confirming her brutal abduction.